30-yard line. Jeremy Loretz was the deep threat on passing formations on the offense on the near side. And Matt Emmerich on the far side for the Johnnies as we're ready to get this game underway. Brian Barnick signals that he is ready. The stands have filled on the near side, and the game is underway. End-over-end kickoff taken at the 11-yard line. Heading upfield, Chris Palmer at the 20, the 25, the 30, takes a hit and goes down finally at the 36-yard line. It was a struggle, but he finally went down.
You know, the Cobbers' big concern has been their kickoff team and some of their special teams, and early on here, they can't afford to give up any big plays, and the Johnnies got up to close to the 40-yard line, so it's good field position for the Johnnies.
In a game like this, Wade, try to go for something big right off the bat on offense, instead of maybe trying to test the middle, maybe go for something big.
That's typical of the Johnnies. On the other hand, the Johnnies might want to sustain a running game a little bit because the Cobbers are pretty tough on the pass, and they've got to be able to do both here tonight.
It's first down, and stepping under center for the Johnnies, Kurt Ramler, a sophomore from Chaska. He is the third quarterback used by John Gallardi this football season. In the backfield, number 2 rusher in the league, Matt Malmberg, a senior from Tartan, has rushed for 923 yards in 8 games played. He is backed by Mike Faber and DJ Core at the tailbacks, but those tailbacks are often used as blocking backs for the fullback, and that's kind of an unusual situation. Matt Malmberg averaging 106 yards per game rushing. The receivers, Jeremy Loretz, among the league leaders with 46 receptions. 11 of them have gone for touchdown. And his longest reception is of 79 yards that came against Hamlin in the loss. Also, Chris Palmer will be watching him as a receiver. And the tight end, Andy Auger, 210 and a senior from Cretin-Derham Hall. Auger, a very dangerous receiver. We'll also see him in the kicking game. He is their punter. And so, finally, on first down, St. John's at their own 36-yard line. Wide receiver right, wide receiver near left side. Backs are split, strong left side. Long count for Kurt Ramler. Drops and hands off right side, DJ Core. Is bumped at the line, and he manages to get out to the 38-yard line at a gain of 2.
And again, like you said, the Johnnies are going to try to establish a little bit of a running game, hoping that the Cobbers will try to work that. And if they can get any somewhat of a running game, it's going to open the passing game for quarterback Kurt Ramler.
Cobbers front 4, Brian Bowl and Jared Sheck at the ends. Chad Freese and Jason Caron at the tackles. Linebackers, Chad Young, Chad Johnson, and Mike Stolberg. A look at the secondary in a moment. 3 receivers in the formation, single setback for Ramler. On the drop play, not much room. Matt Malmberg looking, there's no place to go. Finally, he squirts to the near side, and he's got some room. He's got a lot of room. Takes a big bump, and he's down the sideline. Inside the 30, the 20. He is on his way. Kurt Matt Malmberg has scored. Matt Malmberg has just run 62 yards. And it came off a play that was completely stopped and stymied.
That's exactly what the Johnnies do year in and year out. They'll be the kind of team that'll look terrible 2 plays, and next thing you know, they have the big play. They'll go 70-something yards for a touchdown. That situation, it looked like a broken play. Kind of left, kind of right, and Malmberg breaks open for a touchdown.
He also appeared to be run out of bounds on the near sideline, but managed to stay in. And now the extra point try. Seth Wade is on. The flag is down. The kick is up and good. Now let's check out the penalty flag. We may have to redo this. Seth Wade, who took over the place-kicking job midway through the year, 16 of 20 in extra point tries. The teams are leaving the field. The Cobbers were offside on the extra point, and with 14:05 to go first quarter, it's St. John's 7 and Concordia nothing.
You're an American. You've got the right to demonstrate in the street.
Down with everything.
You've got the right to Burger King and any size great-tasting flame-broiled Whopper sandwich you want. The Whopper Junior, the Whopper, and the Double Whopper. Your choice with fries and drink starting at just $1.99.
Down with it. Actually, that's pretty good. That's good.
Whopper value meals, only in America, land of the free, home of the Whopper.
Burger King. Get your burger's worth.
At participating restaurants, prices and sizes may vary with liberty and justice for all.
Fargo Moorhead's radio home for Concordia, Cobbers Sports, and NFL Sunday. 1280 AM, KVOX, Moorhead, Fargo.
Johnny's wasting no time. Second play from the line of scrimmage. 62 yards later, Matt Malmberg is in. He was running to the right. He was stopped. He was running up the middle. He was stopped. Finally went to the left, appeared to be stopped, then just plain took off, hoping for something. And by that time, the Cobbers had over-pursued. They left the left side of the lane open, and it's 7-0 St. John. Here's the end-over-end kick up the middle and taken by Dean Hago at the 11-yard line. Looks up the middle, comes to the near side, gets a block at the 22 and goes down at the 25-yard line. The Cobbers will begin their offense from there a lot sooner than they had hoped.
No, you know, anytime you give a big play, the whole key here for the Cobbers is to sustain a nice long drive and be consistent. If they can get the option game going, you're going to see a lot of points scored here tonight.
Yeah, there were some people that feel that this will be in that 4 and 5 touchdown area per team.
I was told yesterday by one of the Cobber coaches that it wasn't going to be high-scoring in the game, but I disagree. I agree to 100%. There's going to be some points here tonight.
We'll know in about 2 hours. High formation for the Cobbers. Wide receivers left and right. Kyle Oderman sends Sean McGee in motion. He'll turn. He'll pitch out to Dean Hago near side. Waits for the blocking. Turns up across the 26 and down he goes. Not a lot of room. A gain of about a yard.
No, but there again, not a lot of room, gain of a yard. Dean Hago doing a great job of getting some yardage. He's such a strong running back. Again, he's not even tackled in that situation. That's happened 4 or 5 times over the year where he doesn't get tackled. They have to blow the whistle.
Mike Halverson is the fullback. Hago the tailback. Receivers, Sean McGee and Torrey Langamo. The tight end is Mark Weishauer. The interior line, a couple of freshmen, Noah Karen and Jed Seeger, Jay Boatman, and Tim Lowry, and at center, Chad Schwartz. A look at the St. John's defense in a moment. Cobbers 2nd and 9. Wide receivers left and right. Again, the I formation behind Kyle Oderman, who turns and hands off to Hago to the outside, and he is wrapped up, loses the football. It's loose, still scrambled for, finally picked up by the Johnnies, and they're going to run it in. They are going to run it in for the score. Oh, my.
Work or home, you need insurance protection. At McBride Agency, they offer complete business insurance at competitive prices, and they're always there if you ever need them in the event of a claim. Whether you need business interruption protection, liability, property, or other insurance, call Dave McBride at the McBride Agency at 293-7776. Find the right insurance protection under America's umbrella, the Travelers and McBride Agency.
St. John's has picked up a loose Cobber ball on the turf, and Trent Anderson finally ended up with possession of it and runs it in from 17 yards. And the Johnnies have scored 22 seconds apart and now lead at 14-0. And this has all of a sudden become a big uphill battle for the Cobbers.
Well, you know, again, we started talking about turnovers. The Cobbers are ranked nationally on a 16-0 turnover margin ratio. Johnnies have turned the ball over a little bit, but on the other side, the Cobbers turn it over here, and that's a big hurt.
Dean Hago was trying to make room to the outside, and he was wrapped up and was being brought to the turf by Joe Burgess. And the ball squirted loose just as Dean Hago was hitting the turf, and so it was a live ball that finally rolled upfield and picked up by Trent Anderson, who ran it in. And it's 14-0 St. John. Here we go with the Johnny kickoff. End over end. Up the middle of the field, Hago waits at the 8-yard line and heads up to the near right side. He's across the 20, the 25, lowers the shoulder, and goes down at the 29-yard line. So all of a sudden, the Cobber offense is back on the field and trailing now 14-0.
Dean Hago had some troubles early in the year holding on to the ball in the MSU game and a couple games early on, but he's had fairly good success as the year went along. But here, that's a big turnover, and the Cobbers are going to have to sustain the drive here.
Well, the best conceived game plan is all of a sudden thrown out the window. I don't think anybody would have expected this kind of a situation to occur at the start of a game. You've got to all of a sudden regroup.
No, and that's just it. As a coach, you know, they have certain plays they call in certain situations, certain scores, and now the book can almost be thrown out, and they got to put some points on the board right away.
Tim Lowry is late getting onto the field, has taken his spot now at the right tackle spot, and as on the near side, we saw where offensive coach Brad Pohl was signaling to Mark Weishauer for a formation. He was wavering him into a different spot, and finally they lined up, and finally were forced into taking a timeout.
What's interesting here is you've got both coaches not wearing headsets, so I don't know if they're not able to use them up top and get signals, or they're using walkie-talkies or getting nothing. That, my friend, is kind of an interesting case.
There was a delay right at the very start of the game, and they were looking into the press area, so I expect that was the situation, waiting for both sets of coaches to be without headsets. And now the Cobbers on 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. The Johnnies have scored 2 touchdowns, 22 seconds apart, one by the offense, one by the defense. Cobbers now have 3 receivers in the formation. Torrey Langemo will go in motion. Kyle Oderman rolls near side. Looks to pass. Looking against the grain. He floats one up and away. It is tipped and it is incomplete. The intended receiver, Torrey Langemo, but the pass floated high, and actually Mark Weissauer had a better chance of catching it.
Well, and Kyle Oderman's got to have a big day today. If they're not able to run the ball and they have to throw the ball, he's got to be on, and that's crucial right here. And early on, it doesn't look very good for Kyle.
That stops the clock at 13:27 of the first quarter. Again, at the 14:05 mark, a 62-yard run by Matt Malmberg, and then on the second offensive play by the Cobbers after the Johnny kickoff, a 17-yard fumble recovery by Trent Anderson. Return for the score. Sean McGee goes in motion on 2nd and 10 as Oderman drops the pass. He's got his man open, but the pass never got past the line of scrimmage, and it drops incomplete. The big interior line. Again, Trent Anderson had his hands up and forced the incompletion. He's at 6'1". Next to him, 6'1" Jim Wagner, and alongside him, 6'1" Brian Cohorst.
You know, and this has been a concern the last couple of weeks. Kyle Oderman's got a lot of pressure last week, even in the McAllister game, and early on here, back to passing, he's getting a lot of pressure from the interior line.
Incompletions on 2 straight tries. It's now 3rd and 10. Cobbers at their own 29. Play clock is down to 7. They're going to have to hurry. They may not get this play off. There he is, just stepped under center with 2, and he got it off just as it went from the 1 to the 0, and he goes down at the 20-yard line. Oh, my. Jim Wagner came crashing through. He has recorded his 9th quarterback sack of the season.
And this is what the Cobbers didn't want. You know, they run the ball over 70% of the time, and if they're forced to throw, it's really slim pickings for the Cobbers because they only throw the ball. Probably their only completion is 48%.
3 plays and time to bring on Marcus Erickson. Second leading punter in the league, averaging 38 yards a try. Will kick this one from the 6-yard line. And Johnnies have the early momentum. Long count, there's the snap. The rush on, but the kick away. It's a wobbly spiral coming out to the 43-yard line. To the far side, getting away, and then dumped. Chad Young was down, forcing the play to the far side. Tim Langemo was upfield to make the tackle, and the Johnnies will begin this series from their own 42.
You know, you look at both teams, there's a lot of emotion in this football game, so a lot of things can happen early on. We don't want to come across negative saying that the Cobbers are kind of out of this because they're not by any means, but they've handled some tough drives here.
Johnnies will get the ball with 12:36 to go in the opening quarter with a 14-0 advantage. Jeremy Lorette wide to the near left side. DJ Core out of the backfield is now wide right. They have 4 receivers in the formation as Ramler drops the pass. He's got all the time he needs, and the pass is incomplete at the midfield line. Jeremy Lorette, the intended receiver, was right there. He had beaten the defensive back for the Cobbers, but the pass just a little bit low and couldn't scoop it.
On the opposite end, St. John's, if they're not able to pass here today and they're forced to run, that's really good for the Cobbers because they don't carry the ball that well except for their one running back, Malberg.
And so it's 2nd and 10 as Kurt Ramler, a sophomore from Chaska, comes up. He has the #1 pass efficiency mark in the nation in Division III. He has hit on 62% of his passes on the year. Drops the pass, looks and looks deep. He's got Lorette, overthrows him, incomplete at the 20-yard line. Again, Lorette's had a step on Tim Odland, but the pass had 2 yards on Lorette, and it drops to the turf.
Ramler's got a strong arm, and he's not afraid to throw. This guy throws the ball. He's thrown over 1,000 yards this season, put a lot of points on the board. His only negative is he's not very mobile. He's not going to run. He's got -83 yards rushing.
Here's an important and very impressive statistic. He has thrown 14 touchdown passes and has thrown only 1 interception all year. Kurt Ramler steps under center. He'll have Lorette wide to the right side with Chris Palmer. The wide receiver on the near side is Andy O'Shea. Backs are split. Quick toss up and over. It is kicked off at midfield. The Cobbers have the ball back. Ryan Beachy, playing center field, has control of the tip football of the Cobbers. Will try to take advantage of a Johnny turnover.
And that's the key. The Cobbers have taken advantage of turnovers all year. If they can do it here and get in the end zone, this is a whole new ballgame.
The first chance the Cobbers had to run 3 straight plays, the Johnnies defensive unit was very inspired. They forced 2 incompletions and a quarterback sack before Marcus Erickson kicked it. Now the Cobbers, after a Ryan Beachy interception, his 2nd of the season, at the St. John's 43-yard line. High formation, receivers left and right for Kyle Oderman. They'll go on the ground. Mike Halverson has a bit of a hole, but it closes quickly at the 40. Trenton Anderson was there to make the tackle. and he has had a busy first few minutes of play here in tonight's game. Andy Scheck, the linebacker, also helping out.
When you run the option against a 5-2 defense, the fullback's really crucial because you've got to crack down on the nose man, and there's some holes there. If Halverson has a big day, it's going to help the Cops.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Torrey Langamo, wide left side. Weishauer, the tight end on the near right. Sean McGee comes off the far side in motion. Again, the down-the-line option. Oderman will keep it himself, and he is met at the line and driven down to the turf. No gain on the play. And defensively, the stop was made by Brian Cohorst, who played his high school ball at St. Cloud Cathedral. He is 6'1", 225, and he is a senior. Among the leaders in tackles with 40, among the leaders in sacks with 5 for the Johnny front four.
What's interesting now, both teams now have their headsets down in the field, so it might make a little difference. The guys up top can see some things they can't.
Third down and about 7 for the Cobbers, just inside the Johnny 40-yard line. Wide receivers to the left. Out of the I formation, fakes the handoff, rolls, being pressured, sets and throws up and over, incomplete. Torrey Langamo and Mark Weishauer, the intended receivers, but well covered. It almost looks like the Johnnies are playing with 14 or 15 defensive people, the way they're covering up on everybody.
Johnnies, like I said, the interior line, though, they swarm to the football and they get in the quarterback's face. It's really tough to pass. The Cobbers are going to really have to get that running game going to be beneficial with the pass.
Unable to pick up a first down, Marcus Erickson is back on. Line of scrimmage at the St. John's 40-yard line. Erickson will stand at his own 46. Single return set up in Jeremy Lorette. So the Johnnies are going to come after this one. They line everybody up. Here's the snap and the kick away. Up the middle, and it'll get into the end zone clearly. It is stopped, and it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. So Erickson kicks it over the coverage and into the end zone. Touchback out to the 20. Now the Johnnies offense will come back on.
And key for the Johnnies here, if they can sustain a drive and kill some time off the clock and put the ball in the end zone, it's 21-0. Boy, it's really tough to overcome a 21-point deficit.
At any point in the game, most coaches feel that a 2-touchdown difference is not something that can't be overcome. They feel that you can score 2 touchdowns in a given amount of time, but 3, that puts a whole new perspective on it. 11 minutes to go, first quarter, 14-0, St. John. Backs are split, the handoff, and the flags go down. Just as the play comes to the line of scrimmage, a play that gained about 2 yards, DJ Core on the carry, but the penalty flags came from the far side and out of the backfield.
What's interesting throughout the year, the thing that has hurt the Cobbers is the big play breakdowns, and usually they come on broken plays. Against MSU, against Augsburg, they give up the touchdown on a broken play, and maybe that's their responsibilities breakdown or whatever. And here today, that's kind of what happened with the first touchdown.
A 5-yard penalty against the Johnnies. It'll be 1st and 15. 10:58 to go. The Johnnies come up with Loretz wide to the near left side. O'Shea wide right. Man in the slot. Backs are split. To pass. Kurt Ramler under some pressure dumps the screen off to Matt Malmberg, and he gets about 4 yards of the penalized 5. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Well, Matt Malmberg, not only a great rusher for the Johnnies, but also among the team leaders in receptions with 24.
Anytime you got a back like that, like Malmberg, can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's one-on-one against the linebacker, the running back's going to win in that situation. That's what makes Malmberg so effective. He catches the ball, and he's just another running back.
2nd and 11 for the Johnnies. 3 receivers in the formation, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Ramler steps up over the middle and has the pass complete. Chris Palmer with the reception at the 35-yard line. The other receivers had cleared out the middle part of the field. Palmer stepped up to make the catch and has the first down.
Ramler's had a lot of time these last couple times he's passed, and that's something that's uncharacteristic for the Cobber defense. Their interior line's done a great job of getting to the quarterback, but so far tonight it's been rough pickings.
Chains move up to the 38, and it's 1st down Johnnies. Wide receivers right and left. Backs are split wide now. Cobber's showing blitz. Ramler hands off to the right side. Flag goes down. Malmberg goes down at the 36. Tim Langamo came up from the strong safety position to make the tackle. We may have an offensive holding call here against the Johnnies. The flag came almost at the time that Langamo was making the stop. Illegal motion called against the Johnnies, and that's a 5-yard penalty. Well, the 5-yard penalty didn't hurt them in their first part of this drive as they came up with a long pass reception to Chris Palmer. The Cobbers are going to refuse this penalty to bring up 2nd and 10.
anytime you can take away a down, you're better off, especially when you stop in that situation. Now it's second down 13. It could have been first and 18, but you always give a team another play.
They counted the play, and so a loss of 2 yards as they brought Malmberg down. Second down and almost 13. Single setback, 4 receivers. Ramler with time. Lobs one up and over the top, and this one is picked off. Right at the midfield stripe, another Cobber interception. Brian Barnick, the sophomore corner from Fargo South, has the pick.
Brian Barnick coming up big time there. Barnick doing a great job. You talk about getting the ball at its highest point. That's what defensive back coaches talk about all the time. Barnick doing a great job there and just stepping right in front of the receiver. And if he wouldn't have, it would have been 6 points, Johnny.
Ramler had thrown 1 interception in the first 8 games played. He has thrown 2 tonight. And the Cobber secondary, who came in with 15 interceptions, now have 17. Wide receivers to the left side for Kyle Odeman. He'll go on the draw play to Dean Hago. It's stopped up the middle. He gets to the outside. He's on his way! 30, 20.
Save more in 94 with Northern School Supply and Hahn. Now through October 31st, save almost $100 on the Hahn Contour designed everyday model 7901 office chair. Now only $119.95 in your choice of gray or burgundy. Hahn office chairs are totally adjustable to fit you like no other office chair can. Save another Hahn chairs, desks, files, and lounge furniture now through October 31st at Northern School Supply, NP Avenue and 8th Street, downtown Fargo.
50-yard touchdown run from Dean Hago. And the Cobbers are on the board. Another play that looked to be stopped, but Hago managed to work loose and is into the end zone. Now Brian Barnick on for the extra point. Eric Bechtold with the hold. The approach, the kick is up. May have been deflected, but had enough on it, and it got through. 9:28 to go, first quarter. St. John 14 and Concordia 7.
Royal Jewelers and Rolex are aware that life is full of special occasions. Birthdays, weddings, anniversaries. Special times deserve special recognition.
Oh, the Cobbers taking over after a Brian Barnick interception. 2 plays later, Dean Hago runs 50 yards. A play that started out to the left and came back up the middle of the field to score. And so Dean Hago and Matt Malmberg already showing their individual efforts in tonight's game. Both have scored on long touchdown runs. Now the Cobber kickoff to the 16-yard line. Schaefer, and we've got a penalty flag down. A second penalty flag is down. We may have, and I likely will have, a clipping penalty on St. John's on the return. And an injured Cobber player lying on the far side of the field. That came in the vicinity of the second penalty flag. The first penalty came on the near side as the cut was made to the far side of the field.
I tell you, there's a lot of bodies being thrown in this game. There's a lot of intense players, and there's some big boys. They're hitting here tonight, and it looks like as a result we got to hurt Cobber players.
Well, the Cobber defense has come on and has, at least for the meantime, regained some semblance of control as far as Concordia is concerned. After the big play score by Matt Malmberg and the subsequent return of a fumble by Trent Anderson, the defense has come on and forced the Johnnies into a couple of turnovers. And now the Cobbers have taken advantage to make it a 14-7 game. And that was the spark, or a spark that the Cobbers could use.
And that's what the Cobber defense has done all year, done a great job of taking advantage of those turnovers, and the Cobber offense steps in. A guy like Dean Hago makes things happen. But the Cobber defense and those turnovers have given the Cobbers offense good field position. Anytime you get in that situation, you're going to score.
The injured Cobber player is being assisted off the field. Carl Peterson, who is a freshman from Hawley, in on the special teams, and he's holding his left leg up and not putting any weight onto it. The clipping penalty, and I suspect that he was one of the players clipped. He may have been on the receiving end of that second penalty flag, but the yardage marked off has put the ball down at the 5-yard line.
You see the injury to Peterson. It's kind of unfortunate when you play on turf. A lot of injuries can happen. A lot of blown knees, torn ACLs, and ankles can roll. It's just a harder surface.
And so the Johnnies will begin this drive with 9:21 remaining in the quarter from their own 5-yard line. Back to split. Wide receivers to the right and one to the near left. Ramler drops into the end zone to pass with a lot of time. Finally hit from behind, and down he goes. Fortunate to hang on to the loose ball. Chad Freese and Jason Karen teaming up. Brian Bull will get the quarterback sack. He leads the Cobbers in that department.
And that's Brian Bull and that interior line doing a great job. If they can get to Ramler, because Ramler's not mobile, like I said earlier, minus 83 yards, he's not going to be able to move out of the pocket. If you get to him, he's going to force them to make some bad passes.
He had a lot of time. Ramler had a lot of time, just couldn't find a receiver open. Again, 4 receivers. The draw play now, and Malmberg is caught from behind by Chad Friese and brought down at the 7. A gain of 3 yards for Malmberg.
We talk about momentum. The Cobber momentum is just totally swirled. You look at 3 minutes ago, and the Cobbers looked as though they might be out of this ball game, and now it's a 1-touchdown ball game, and the Cobbers got the Johnnies in their back door.
From their own 8, it is 3rd down and 8. 3 receivers to the near left, single receiver wide right. Only one back for Ramler, who drops into the pocket, now is flushed out, is caught, tripped up and down. Brian Bull has his 2nd quarterback sack of this series at the 5-yard line, and he's a player possessed.
The Cobber defense interior line, what they're doing, they're running their routes around the lineman, getting outside, forcing Ramler to step up. When he steps up, he's not very mobile, so they can catch him from behind, making him force him to step up and either run or throw a bad pass.
So it's 4th down, and the Johnnies, after the clipping penalty that forced this adverse situation, will have to kick it. Andy Auger stands with his heels near the end line. Johnnies with the lead. Will give the ball back to the Cobbers as Stuart Lang waits. Here's the approach and the kick. It's a wobbly spiral. Lang will take it at the 41. He's got some room. He's at the 35 and is cut down at the 32-yard line. Nice open field tackle by DJ Core. Now we've got a late penalty flag. A late flag has been thrown, and the officials meet on the near sideline.
Like I said earlier, there's a lot of emotion between this, and there's a rivalry. So guys are going to throw their bodies, and there might be some late hits and some things said, and I think that's what happened here.
The Johnnies opened up the season with a 54-0 win at Mayville, and then came on with conference wins over Bethel and Augsburg before taking a 1-point loss to Hamlin, 27-26. They responded with a 35-34 win over St. Thomas, then got wins over Gustavus, Carlton, and St. Olaf to set up this matchup with the Cobbers tonight.
You can hear the crowd as a personal foul against the Johnnies, and the Johnnies, so to speak, are kind of shooting themselves in the foot here. You can't afford to do that. The Cobbers are going to start this series inside their 20.
The breaks after the first 2 plays, or the first minute and some seconds, have gone to the Cobbers. 2 interceptions, 2 big penalties against St. John's, and the Cobbers have it first down at the Johnnies' 17-yard line. Personal foul, the indication against the red and white. And the Cobbers were just about halfway through the first quarter, have a chance now to tie this game with a touchdown. Jim Christopherson out talking. You know that this is a real chess match. There may be some delays in this game just because everybody is so into it, so intent on the outcome of it, that everybody will be talking with the officials, making sure that it's being done right.
And you got 2 coaches that have been around long enough, and together their wins probably outdo any other coach in history. And these 2 guys are smart guys on the field.
John Galardier needs 1 more to become tied for 4th on the all-time college list. Here's the handoff to Mike Halverson, and there's nothing along the right side of the line. He is stacked up and down. Cohorst was in on the tackle for St. John. Brian Cohorst, 25 and a senior.
Like I said earlier, Halverson's got to have a big day, and there's some bodies thrown there. Halverson kind of gets frustrated when he got up. But if he can have a big day, that's really going to help the Cobbers and open things up for Dean Hoggle. We really need him to have a big day also.
2nd and 10. No gain on the play by Halverson at the 17-yard line. Clock running. We're approaching the 7-10 mark. Cobbers trailing 14-7. Sean McGee wide left. Langamo in the slot. Halverson in front of Hoggle out of the I formation. As Oderman rolls left to pass. He's got his man McGee open. Makes the catch at the 10-yard line. Goes down at the 9. Not enough for a first down. A pickup of 9 yards on the play.
McGee is the big-time player that he could be, and if you get him the ball soon enough, he's like another running back. He can make some moves, and again, they're gaining a couple yards after he catches the pass.
3rd leading receiver for the Cobbers on the season with 14 receptions. He now has 15 as a sophomore from Bloomington Jefferson. 6'2" and 180. The Cobbers now going to their dead T short yardage offense on 3rd and almost 2. Halverson in the middle. He'll get the call off the right side. He leans into the line, and he is wrapped up and down. Andy Scheck, linebacker, finishing off the tackle. And it'll now be 4th down. He did didn't get more than about a foot on that carry. Cobbers now have to decide on whether to go for it. And they have, this has been a team that we see Eric Bechtold now coming onto the field, but the Cobbers have tried only 5 field goals all year. It has not been an integral part of their offense.
Couldn't ask for a better situation here, though the Cobbers are going to go for 3, it looks like, and take advantage of this.
They're going to have to hurry. There's only 6 seconds. There are only 6 now. 4, 3, 2, and they just get the snap down, and the kick is up. It hits the upright. It bounces. No. It bounces back onto the field of play. It hit the upright and then scooted to the left, but it hit the left upright, which kicked it back out onto the field of play, and so the field goal try is no good, and the Cobbers come up on this possession, no point.
That's kind of big for the Cobbers. They really need to get those points on the board. That would have put them in scoring situation later on. They would have been ahead. It looked like they had to rush themselves in that situation, and that's kind of tough.
Well, it came about as a result of not knowing what to do. They initially looked like they were going to go for the first down, then decided at the last minute to try the field goal, which run the play clock down, and they had to hurry the kick, and it missed. So the Johnnies take over at their own 20-yard line. Backs are split, wide receivers left and right. Kurt Ramler hands it off on the right side to DJ Core. He's forced wide, and he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Another great play by the Cobber defense. Tim Langemo penetrating and catching up to DJ Core in a loss of 4 yards.
Langemo doing a great job of containing there, fighting off his blocker behind the backfield, and then just doing a great job of open field tackling.
Loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12 at the 18.
That's something the Cobber defense is totally new about. I tell you what, their open field tackling has been absolutely sensational this season, comparable to last year where they struggled on that a little bit.
Wide receivers to the near left, single receiver wide right. Kurt Ramler fakes the counter, back to pass, steps into the pocket, now steps out and goes deep. He's got his man, but he stumbles as he gets across the 43-yard line, and tight end Andy Auger could not get back to his feet and still almost made the catch, falling to the turf.
Auger there tripping. If he would have been on his feet, that could have been 6 points.
Yeah.
Johnny's Ramler did a great job of stepping up and kind of eluding it, and then had nice touch on the ball and getting it to the open receiver.
So that incompletion stops the clock with 5 minutes remaining. We've had almost more action here in the first 10 minutes of play than we've had in most football games. 4 receivers in the formation for the Johnnies with back split. To pass, Ramler looking out, finds the safety valve, Matt Malmberg, but overthrows him, and it almost looked like Ramler hurried his pass just a bit.
I think Ramler's hearing footsteps a little bit. You know, you hear that a lot, but he's got sacked 3 times here already tonight. And he looks like he's got happy feet, and that's going to be a big factor.
Something he's, I suspect, hasn't felt a lot of during the course of the regular season. That is pressure.
Like I said, the Cobber interior line's physical, but they're fast. That's really the key to them, and I don't think St. John's has really been challenged in that category.
Andy Auger, who averages 36 yards a kick. Standing inside the 5. Here's the snap. It's low. He drops it. Picked up. He'll try to run it. Now scooches it away. And he got a great kickoff. Inside the 40. Stuart Lang picks it up at the 25 and goes down. Andy Auger with a remarkable job of once bobbling the ball, picking it up to get loose and get it off.
Well, you talk about 9 lives, and Auger just had his 8th because he just survived that. That would have been a great situation for the Cobbers, but Auger, being a smart player he was, eluded the tackle, and hey, instead of running it, he was smart enough to kick it. That's a big difference. A lot of guys that are younger, we saw that happen with Erickson, and he decided to run it.
And so the kick rolls all the way to the Cobber 28-yard line, and the Cobbers will begin this drive with 4:42 remaining, trailing 14-7. Offset I formation, wide receivers near right side for Oderman, who rolls to the right. Looking to pass. Now he'll tuck it under and head upfield. He's across the 30 and then is hit and goes down at the 43-yard line. Linebacker Andy Scheck in on the stop for the Johnnies.
Well, if Oderman's going to get a lot of time on the roll-up, that's going to really be a positive for the Cobbers, because Oderman's the second leading rusher on this football team with 439 yards. If he gets out in the open field, he can do some things. Obviously, you know he's had 2 long touchdowns this season.
One of 76 at Gustavus, his longest. It is 2nd down after a gain of 4 and 6 yards to go. Wide receivers to the left side with Mark Weishauer wide to the near right. The option, and Kyle Oderman will pick it up, and he's got a couple of more yards out to the 35-yard line. Cobbers are now faced with a 3rd and 3 play.
Now that play there was the counter option, and that's something they're going to, they might have some good success with, because St. John's, I have a feeling, is going to shut down the option here tonight. But with the counter option, you can get the Johnnies to a big day for the Cubs.
So with 3:39 left, and the Cobbers breaking huddle on 3rd and 3. Torrey Langamo wide to the near right. Sean McGee goes wide left. Mike Halverson turns and squares things with Dean Hago. Oderman is to pass. He's got his man open. Mark Weishauer with the reception at the 45 and a Cobber first down. Nice look in Patterson to Mike Weishauer, who stepped in front of defensive back Mike Sontag. Makes the reception for a Cobber first down.
Mark Weishauer, the senior from Whitefish, Montana. You talk about a guy you hadn't heard from earlier in the year, and then second half of the season, he has been absolutely phenomenal.
Becomes the second leading Cobber receiver. That's his 25th catch. That ties him now with Torrey Langamo as team leader. Kyle Oderman with a handoff to Dean Hago. Squirts to the outside, and then he slows things down right at the midfield stripe. He was being chased by Luke Fraley, and as they go to the ground, the Johnnies pop up from the turf, signaling that they have taken the ball away from Dean Hago, but the officials have called the play dead. And Cobbers will retain possession after a 5-yard run by Hago.
That's one thing, Dean Hago, he likes to carry the ball with one hand, and he carries it kind of out. He swings the ball around when he makes his moves, and as a result, teams are going to try to punch that out.
2nd and 5 for the Cobbers at the Johnny 49-yard line. 14-7 St. John's, first quarter. 2:28 to go. Langamo and McGee wide to the near right. Double tower tight end left side is Warschauer. Langamo back up in motion. Now he cuts back out on the near side, makes the catch at the 45, turns upfield 40, and he's got the first down. Still on his feet at the 35-yard line. A 15-yard reception.
I'm telling you right now, I knew that was coming here pretty soon. That's called an option pass, where he runs down the line in the option. The Johnnies are going to suck in on it. If they're going to leave Langamo open, that's going to be big for the Cobbers here tonight.
He went to the middle, then quickly reversed his field at the snap and came back out, was left wide open, turns upfield, gained 10 yards after making the catch, and it's first down, Concordia at the St. John's 35. McGee wide left. Weishauer now wide right. Torrey Langamo on the slot left. Here's the counter up the middle to Kyle Oderman, and he pitches it out to Eli Sheff, who had to reach behind him to haul it in. And he picks up about 2, maybe 3 yards near the Johnny 30-yard line. The Cobbers were lucky to still have the football.
Eli Sheff, what a phenomenal athlete there, being able to grab it one hand behind his back and still gain some yardage. So you've got to give him nothing but positive.
It was well executed. The play into the middle looked like Mike Halverson had it. The Johnnies bid on that. Then Oderman rolling out to the near right side, pitched out to Sheff, who picked up 3, almost 4. It is second down at the Johnny 31. I formation, Oderman to pass. He's being chased. He is being caught, gets the pass away, intended for Halverson, and is ruled incomplete. And again, Kyle Oderman, he does some remarkable things at times. He was in the grass, was being thrown to the ground, and had the wherewithal to find Mike Halverson, who is an intended receiver, open, but the pass just overthrown.
What makes Kyle Oderman so much better than most quarterbacks is his ability to improvise. If something's happened in that situation, he reacts. That's like with the option. Nobody runs it better due to the fact is he can act. He'll ride the fullback as long as he can and wait till the last second to pitch it.
Sean McGee, who had gone deep on the last play, late getting into the huddle, now goes wide left. Cobbers have it 3rd and 5. Langamo in motion. He'll join McGee on the left. Oderman to pass. He's got that quick look in again to Torrey Langamo, and he just does sneak the pass in for the completion and a first down.
That, my friend, was a perfectly thrown pass because Jeremy Rondorf of St. John's was right there, and if he would have got a piece of it, it would have been 6 points because there was nobody but Green out for the
Feathered in by Kyle Oderman to Torrey Langamo. They've gone to him twice on this drive. Both for first downs, and that sets the chain at the St. John's 23. Time running down, 1.5 minutes remaining in the quarter. St. John's with the lead at 14-7. McGee wide right. Oderman on the option, first man. He'll let Halverson try to do what he can with it, and that is to muster about 1 yard. He goes down at the 21.
The Cobbers can't go away from the option, though. They've got to use it either to keep St. John's honest, because that's just an integral part of their offense, and if they go away from it, the Johnnies can do some things different than probably hurt their passing game.
Brian Cohorst making another tackle for St. John's. He came into the game with 40 tackles among the team leaders. The Cobbers, after a gain of 2, 2nd and 8, 50 seconds to go in the quarter. McGee and Langamo now to the near right side at the Johnny 20. Offset eye, strong right. Oderman down the line. He will keep lifting it out of bounds at the 12-yard line, close to a first down.
Oderman doing a great job of keeping it, finding the seam, and just going outside, and that's flat out a foot race. Kyle Oderman's got pretty good speed. He runs about a 4.6 40, and that's a good job on his part.
They say his left foot went out inside the 11-yard line. Now, that's good for a first down, and he'll mark the change. There was a length of the football from the end of the chain to the goal line. That's all much room they have.
And like I said earlier, they've got to keep using the option, because that's an effective part. If they don't, the St. John's linebackers will stunt more, and that'll hurt the passing game for the Cops.
First down inside the 11-yard line. 36 seconds to go in the quarter. Cobbers with another great scoring opportunity. They missed when they were down here the last time. Here's a call to Mike Halverson. He's inside the 9, near the 8-yard line.
Counter option on that play for Halverson. Doing a great job of getting some yardage with some second efforts, but Cobbers are probably 2nd and 8.
Jim Wagner was in on it. Andy Scheck, the linebacker. Mike Sontag, defensive end for the Johnnies, also helping out.
Suspect a pass pattern here, probably with Kyle Oderman with a quick slant pattern or that sprint pass out.
See what happens on 2nd and 8 from inside the 9. Sean McGee goes wide left, and we'll wait for the second quarter for this play to get underway. After one, it's been exciting. Second down, Concordia. Sean McGee and Torrey Langamo, twin receivers near left side. Offset I formation is Langamo. Now goes in motion. Oderman rolls to the right side. Looks back against the green, lobs it into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Mark Weishauer.
Amazing. Kyle Oderman got a lot of time from his offensive line, that young offensive line, doing a great job. And that's where he's strong on the sprint out passes. He's able to throw really well on the run. He's not very tall, and that's why you got to be able to run and get him outside so he can see his receivers. If he's a straight back passer, that really hurts Kyle Oderman, but the Cobbers use the sprint out 6 points.
Second reception of the night, and Mark Weishauer. Now the extra point try would tie. Ryan Barnick is on. Eric Bechtold will hold. Cobbers going right to left here in the second quarter. Chad Schwartz with the snap. The approach, it is blocked. This can be returned, remember. This can be returned, and it is picked up and brought out to the 11-yard line. So St. John's defense comes in and stops the extra point try. With 14:54 to go in the first half, it's St. John's 14, Concordia 13.
The Steen & Berg Company is Fargo Moorhead's oldest auto body repair shop.
With 14:54 remaining, it's 14-13. Johnny's with the lead. Now we'll get the football. Barnick is back on. He'll kick it away. Signals that he is ready. Back in kickoff return is Chris Palmer. And the end-over-end kick will take Palmer back to the 6-yard line. Where he heads up, he's got a wall of blockers to the near side. Palmer waiting, then heading up across the 20, the 25, and is finally down near the 29-yard line. Another Cobber player slow in getting up, but he's okay.
What amazes me about block kicks is the fact that the team goes in with the momentum, they score a touchdown. You'd think the guys would want to suck it up a little bit. Hey, and it's sometimes maybe they're overlooked. But here, I mean, that's crucial with a 14-13 score.
Cobbers with 5 first downs in the first quarter. St. John's was held to 2. Cobbers rushed 15 times for 78 yards. The Johnnies rushed 7 times for 61. At the end of the first quarter, the Cobbers 119 yards of offense and St. John's 84. Here's the call. Matt Malmberg is dropped at the line of scrimmage. Chad Freese from Barrett played his high school ball at West Central. In to make the stop, a penalty flag is thrown in. Other first quarter statistics. Dean Hoggle 4 carries for 56 yards, including his 50-yard touchdown run. Mike Halverson carried the ball 5 times for 8 yards. For St. John's, Matt Malmberg, his touchdown run officially a 64-yard carry. Or 62 rather. We had it right from the beginning. 62-yard run for Matt Malmberg. Ramler was 2 for 8 with 2 interceptions. For the Cobbers, Kyle Oderman 4 for 8. Was sacked once. Ramler was sacked twice. Penalty flag against Concordia.
If you look at those stats, you think the Cobbers would be up by 14 points. Cobbers doing a great job, with the exception of the big plays they gave up to Malmberg, and they're keeping them in check so far here.
Erickson's one punt of 40 yards. Andy Auger has kicked twice for 46.5-yard average. The penalty against the Cobbers puts the ball up at the 43-yard line. First down, here's DJ Core. Finding some room. Caught from behind by Tim Langel. Ball is loose. Scramble for the loose ball at the 42-yard line. Concordia has recovered.
And again, we talk about the turnover ratio. That's what makes the Cobbers so effective this year. They're ranked nationally with the turnover margin, and they have a big turnover right here.
Tim Langemo stripped the ball loose. Tim Odlin covered up. Third turnover by the Johnnies. And the Cobbers have it at their own 41-yard line.
Well, the Cobber offense must just be feeling very lucky with their defense on the field. They've gotten more than enough opportunities here to put the points on the board.
Wide receivers Sean McGee and Torrey Langemo to the near left side. Weissauer, the tight end on the right. I formation for Kyle Oderman, who drops, fakes the draw, back to pass, going deep. Out on the near side for Langemo. It is up, and it is incomplete, out of bounds, inside the 30-yard line. Well, everybody ran out of room on that play.
That's kind of uncharacteristic of the Cobber offense, because you got a guy like Kyle Oderman who doesn't really have that strong of an arm. He can't throw from the pocket, and that's a dangerous pass, because you're throwing it up. Basically, you're saying, my receiver can get to it before your defensive back. Who's got the better vertical? Who can get to it? And the Cobber offense receivers aren't very tall.
14-13, the Johnnies the lead. We're just underway in the second quarter. The Cobbers with the ball at their own 41-yard line, 2nd and 10. Torrey Langemo and Sean McGee near left. Oderman, no place to go to the right side. He'll have to come back to the left, and he is brought down right at the line of scrimmage. Tackle was made by defensive end Mike Sontag, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
That was a counter option. It looked like Oderman saw that it was not going to be there at all, so he tried to break it the other way, hopefully trying to make something out of nothing, and unfortunately he didn't.
Inside of the 14-minute mark, 13:50 remaining in the half, as Sean McGee will go wide to the right side. Big play for the Cobbers on 3rd and 10 at their own 41. I formation, offset, strong right. Langemo wide near left, back to pass, big pocket, shoots one out. McGee has the catch right at the first down marker. They will spot him at the St. John's 48-yard line. First down, Concordia.
Like I said earlier, if Kyle Oderman's on, it's going to be a tough day for the Johnnies, because their defensive backs are going to have a hard time, because these receivers are really tough, and it looks like it might be right for Kyle Oderman here tonight.
He was 11 of 12. That was his best performance by far against St. Thomas early in the season. Tonight, he was 4 for 8 in the first quarter, and is 1 for 2 here in the second quarter. His receivers, Langemo and McGee to the near left at the Johnny 47-yard line. First down, Concordia with 13:11 to go, trailing by a point. Oderman with the draw right side to Dean Hago. No place to go, and he's ankle tackled down near the 45-yard line. Great penetration by Luke Fraley, the defensive end, who got an ankle or a hand on the ankle of Dean Hago to trip him up.
But he barely got to Dean Hago, and you got to look at the ability of Dean Hago and his speed. That's what's so exceptional. He'll bust inside, then bust right outside. He's got that exceptional speed, 4.5 speed, high 4.4s. That's Division I material.
Hago with 56 yards rushing in the first quarter. Picking up a yard, leaving 2nd and 9. Twin receivers near left side for the Cobbers. Oderman with a long count. Brings Langemo back in motion. He'll find him again. There's the pass, and complete at the 40. That's a play that has really worked well, and it's a play we haven't seen much of this year.
They have used it. They used it earlier in the year against St. Thomas. The thing is, the teams that are really tough on the option, they have to give something up. So the sprint pass will be there, because what your receiver will do, he'll hesitate, take a step. You got everybody running streaks. Your other receivers running streaks. Your defensive backs go back. It sets open for a guy like Langemo.
Picking up 7 yards, almost 8 yards. It's 3rd and 2 inside the Johnny 40-yard line. Langemo now wide to the right side. He has 3 catches tonight. He had 8 catches in that game against St. Thomas. Wide receiver to the near left. Out of the I formation for Kyle Oderman. They'll go on the ground to Dean Hago. He's got the first down as he leans across the 35-yard line. A gain of 5 yards for Dean Hago.
That's what makes Dean Hago great. The seam wasn't outside. Just cut a move inside and got some extra yardage. He made something out of nothing. That's what he's done quite a bit all year.
Well, we're closing in on that part of the field that has become very difficult for the Cobbers. They missed on a field goal try earlier, and then finally able to punch one in, but missed on the extra point. Out of the I formation, the closed formation. Now McGee lines up in the slot and goes in motion. The call will go to Dean Hago, who is hit behind the line of scrimmage and driven down. Andy Scheck broke through untouched to bring Hago down at the 44-yard line. Apparently a missed assignment. Chad Schwartz, the offensive center, and Dean Hago talking about that play.
Scheck on a stunt there, and that's one of the things defensive coaches, it's a guessing game. They guessed right in that situation, and that added the momentum for the Johnnies.
A loss of 2. It's 2nd and 12. The ball has been moved back to the 37-yard line. The Cobbers on this formation will have Sean McGee wide to the near left with Langamo set inside of him. Mike Halverson, the fullback, off step to the right. Here's Oderman rolling on 2nd and 12. He is forced out of the pocket, sets to throw, and then is caught. He knew that if he threw, he'd probably have his arm hit, and instead tucked it under and tried to make the best of it.
Again, that's Kyle Oderman being the smart guy, not turning the ball over. How many guys are quick enough to react like that, thinking, hey, I don't want to turn the ball over. I'm not going to force it or get the ball knocked out of my hands and give the ball to John.
He faced that decision twice on that same play. Once deep in the pocket, he pulled it under where there was nothing open. Then was being chased to the near sideline, and just as he cocked his arm to throw, realized that if he did, it would be knocked away from him, so he tucked it under and went down for a yard loss. It's 3rd and 13. 10:37 to go. Again, the Johnny defense appears to have come up big. Dean Hago leaves the backfield in motion. Turns upfield. Oderman is back to pass and goes. He's got his man McGee near the first down marker at the 25-yard line.
I cannot believe what an athlete Sean McGee is. Not only is he tough on his routes, runs them so hard, it's tough to defend, but he's finding the first down yard mark and getting there, catching the ball, and getting the first down.
The officials are going to take a long look at this one and have decided it's good enough. It's a first down catch by Sean McGee. That's his 3rd reception of the night.
And out of those 3, 2 of them have been for first downs right before the mark. So he knows how to run his routes. What an exceptional athlete.
At the St. John's 24-yard line. Cobbers bring McGee to the near left. And Langamo steps inside in the slot. Oderman under center. He'll drop back on the draw and give it off to Dean Hago, and he pounds his way inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line. A gain of 5 for Hago, and the Cobbers, who have been finding some success with a pass, now finding the middle opening up for a little bit and some yardage.
Well, what that's called a counter trade, the hesitation step, and that gives Dean Hago the ball back in the backfield, so he can kind of decide which hole he wants to pick and choose, and that's what makes him such a tough runner. He can choose, and he's got that great speed.
2nd down and 5. They need to get the ball to the 14-yard line for a first down. Twin receivers near left side, Torrey Langamo and Sean McGee. McGee and Langamo. Oderman rolls in their direction to pass, and he tucks it in and finds his man at the 12-yard line, and Torrey Langamo makes the catch.
Looks like it's the first down for the Cobbers, and Kyle Oderman is absolutely on. Like I said earlier, if he's on, it's going to be a tough night for the Johnnies, and it looks like he's just had pinpoint control. You talk about a pitcher throwing strikes. Kyle Oderman is throwing strikes tonight.
He was in jeopardy of stepping over the line of scrimmage when he delivered that pass to Torrey Langamo, and Langamo standing right on the sideline, knew where the first down marker was. It is a Cobber first down at the 12. McGee wide right with Langamo. Dean Hago, the tailback. Mike Halverson in front of him, just set off to the left. As Oderman takes the snap, turns and pitches back to Dean Hago, and he lost the football and scrambled forward, and Hago couldn't get his arm on it. It goes to St. John. Wow, what a ball game. Dean Hago was so alone on the near side, he wasn't being contested by anyone, but he just plain didn't handle the pitch. He couldn't get back to it.
It looked like it bounced off, and he had a lot of time. If he wouldn't have got back to it, kind of bounced some things around, one of the Johnny defenders could have picked that up, and there was nobody around. It would have been 6 points.
Brian Cohorst, who has a half dozen tackles here in the first half with the fumble recovery. And we have an injured Johnny player lying at the 7-yard line. Just when the fortunes were looking good for the Cobbers, they turn it over. Something that the Johnnies had been doing earlier in the half.
The Cobber offense has got to feel pretty good.
A bench area for some assistance. Wide receivers to the left is Chris Palmer. Jeremy Loretz near right. Backs are split for Kurt Ramler. It's been a while since he's had the football. Here's Matt Malmberg looking for room. There's nothing there, and he is driven by 4 Cobbers into the sideline at the 16-yard line.
Cobbers doing a great job of what we call swarming to the football. You got 7, 8 guys flying to the football. Good things are going to happen, and that's what's happening here tonight.
Tim Langamo and Tim Odland led the way out of the Cobber secondary, and setting up second and long, Ryan Beachy checks in. He replaces Mike Stolberg. He is the nickelback. He has 1 interception already tonight. It's 2nd and 14 for the Johnnies. Receivers wide left. Fakes the drop. Back to pass. We have a new quarterback in the lineup, and he goes down at the 12-yard line. Cobbers closed down the pocket, and Pat Kemper is down on the sack.
Cobber defensive back doing a great job, and that's why I got to look at Ryan Beachy. He comes from a quarterback position. He's playing defense. What a fine athlete. Does a great job here tonight so far, getting an interception and doing a great job of coverage in there.
3 sacks by the Cobber front 4. 2 by Brian Bowl. That one by Chad Freese. And it's third down and a long ways to go. 19 yards for a Johnny first down. That doesn't seem to faze them much if they have the kind of tradition. Here's Kemper with a pitch back out to Malmberg. He turns upfield. He's across the 20. Then is caught and brought out of bounds near the 25-yard line. That's just beyond the original line of scrimmage. It'll be fourth now and long.
The reason they brought Kemper in is due to the fact that he can run the option real well, and the other quarterback cannot, and they want to get the running game going here a little bit, and that's what the Johnnies need.
So the play run out of bounds at the 24, leaving 4th and 8. And Andy Auger is on. He had a good first quarter when he averaged 46.5 yards on 2 tries.
What's interesting about this Cobber defense is they play as a unit. They're not a bunch of individuals, and they play as a unit, and that's been their success.
Stuart Lang is back in punt return. As the kick is angled away from him, it will bounce at the 37 and then take Cobber bounce back to the 39-yard line where it's downed by the Johnnies. And the Cobbers on that exchange, although they lose the chance to score, have the ball in good field position, still trailing by 1.
Yeah, the Cobbers got to be happy on both sides. Their defense has basically shut down the Johnnies besides that one big play. And offensively, they sustained some long drives. So you know, they're pretty happy. They know what they're doing down there.
Johnnies had 2 first downs in the first quarter. You have not registered a first down in the second quarter. Torrey Langema wide to the right side. Sean McGee now inside of him. He'll come back to the near side in motion. He'll head upfield on the snap, and the call goes to Dean Halgo. Lowers the shoulder and is brought down at the 41-yard line. Johnny's in there to make the stop. Ted Ruzanik. He's a sophomore from Sartell.
This drive here is really crucial for the Cobbers. They sustain a good long drive and put 6 points on the board. It's not going to give these Johnnies much time to score, and so they might go in the half being up by 6 points.
And 17 seconds, first minute and 17 seconds. Cobbers have come back with 2 touchdowns using their offense and time, possession, ball control. Back to pass Oderman. He's got his man over the middle, and it's incomplete at the Johnny 45-yard line. Weishauer was there, but the pass underthrown. Nice defensive assignment by Trevor Erlinson.
Whole key to
it is 3rd and 9. Sean McGee goes wide right side. Torrey Langemo to the near left. Cobbers at their own 41. I formation, 7 minutes to go in the half. Oderman is back to pass. With time, he dumps it off to Weishauer. Makes the catch. Flag is down from the far side of the field. Weishauer's catch good enough for the first down, but let's check the penalty.
Well, in that area, there was only 3 people. 2 of them, Sean McGee and number 36, Halverson. So it's either one of those 2 for the Cobbers, and it looks like it is.
Andy Scheck quickly clapping his hands as he listens in on the conversation. Apparently, we had an ineligible receiver upfield for the Cobbers. As the play took a little while to develop, and some of the linemen broke their containment at the line of scrimmage. And the officials have come over now and told Jim Christopherson who the guilty party was. And that's the kind of play that is not only a loss of yardage, but a loss of down.
Now you've got a 3rd down situation, 3rd down and 15. You're definitely in a throwing situation, so it opens it up for the Giants probably to stunt or do some things. They know they're in a passing situation. That or they'll go to a nickel package.
It brings it back to the 36-yard line. Clock running with 6:49 to go in the half. Cobbers trailing by 1. The difference is a block extra point. Long time in the huddle. The Cobbers will be forced to take a timeout. They, I think, were not aware that the play clock had been running. And
now Concordia's kind of changed the toll.
On 3rd and 13. High formation for Kyle Oderman. Mark Weishauer spread wide near side. Torrey Langemo goes in motion. He'll be on the same side of the field with Sean McGee. Back to pass Oderman. Going deep. He's got McGee out there. He makes the catch. He's on his way.
Whether your ventures take you by land, air, or sea, consider Kwame Travel for all your travel needs. If you're planning travel for business or pleasure, domestic or international, Kwame Travel can get you there. Call Kwame Travel today for great service and prices on air travel, cruises, charters, group travel, hotel, and car rentals. Kwame Travel provides $100,000 flight insurance per person. Kwame Travel values you as a customer and takes pride in providing you with the best possible service. Call 236-9906 or 1-800-999-1586 for Kwame Travel. Our business is going places.
64-yard pass completion to Sean McGee, and the Cobbers have taken the lead. The score coming at 6.5 minutes to go. What a big play. Catching it in stride. Sean McGee had the defender beat and was on his way to the end zone. Kyle Oderman with a perfectly thrown strike.
That's a backside. What it is a sprint out, and then you got the backside guy doing a slant pattern, and you couldn't ask for a better guy. McGee's got exceptional speed, and on top of that, he's got great height, so if he had to go up to the ball, I'd give McGee the plus. He caught it on stride, perfect pass. Kyle Oderman's been throwing nothing but strikes here tonight, and McGee is big time here tonight.
6.5 to go, and the Cobbers now, after missing an earlier extra point try, face the decision of whether to try the kick or go for two and bring it back to that divisible by 7 game.
Oh, yeah, the Cobbers in a great situation. You know, we started thinking about this. Offensively, they used just about everything here tonight. Weishauer, McGee, Langemo, Dean Hoggle. The only guy we really haven't heard from is Halverson much yet, but that's what the Cobbers are doing. They're having great success, and they're using everybody.
And so Kyle Oderman has walked back onto the field. We anticipate a 2-point conversion try by the Cobbers. They have lined it on the left hash mark. The Cobbers have their option on an extra point try where to place the ball between the hash marks, and they have decided to place it right on the left hash mark going in.
The reason you're going to do it on the left hash mark, you got a right-handed quarterback, so if you sprint out right, you've got that side of the field. He can throw to a strong side.
Everybody is covered. McGee wide right, Langemo near side with Weishauer. Langemo to the right side in motion as Kyle Oderman rolls in that direction. Double pump, then drops it into the end zone, and it is incomplete. Hit from behind, the pass knocked away, and the 2-point conversion fails. Oderman took a shot as he went to the turf after delivering the pass. And the Cobbers come up with a score and take the lead with 6.5 to play in the half. It's Concordia 19 and St. John's 14.
It's a good game, and as a Cobber fan, you're cheering up
and take the lead. 6.5 to go, 19-14 Concordia. It's a 5-point game. Here's the kickoff. Brian Barnick's kickoff is inside the 10, taken at the 7-yard line and heading upfield. Chris Palmer across the 20, the 25. Waits for a block at the 30 and is brought down at the 32-yard line. Cobber special teams player John Jaskin, who is a freshman from Moorhead, across the way helping out on the stop.
Local player like John Jaskin getting in, a freshman. He's got to love this situation. He comes to a situation where the Moorhead Spuds had a great success last year, went far. Steps in a program like Concordia, they got a winning tradition, and he gets to participate in this big game.
It's first down Johnnies at their own 31-yard line. They have not picked up a first down in the second quarter. 3 receivers near right side. Pat Kemper stays in at quarterback. He pitches out on the near side for Matt Malmberg. Turns inside. He meets a swarm of Cobber tacklers and goes down at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Chad Johnson, Cobber leading tackler on the season, making the stop.
And that's what the Cobbers have to do. They got to swarm to the football, and they're doing that here, especially after giving up that broken play earlier in the game. You notice they're staying on their contained jobs, doing a great job swarming to the football.
Second down and 10 for the Johnnies at their own 31. We're under the 6-minute mark. Cobbers leading 19-14. Johnnies send wide receiver left, wide receiver right. Backs are split for Pat Kemper, who drops into the pocket with time. Double pump, throws, and it is hauled in, then dropped, but pulled back in by Matt Malmberg. Well, a lot of loose balls tonight on the turf here at the Fargo Dome. Mike Solberg with Chad Johnson to make the tackle.
There's some guys seriously hitting down there, and that's kind of what's going on. Johnson, Solberg throwing their bodies, hitting the running backs, and on both sides, there's some balls squirting around everywhere.
A loss of a yard on the pass completion. It is 3rd and 9, or rather a gain of a yard brings up 3rd and 9 at the 32. Matt Malmberg, his second catch, as Pat Kemper steps under center. Wide receivers to the left and right, and he drops into the pocket. He is forced out of the pocket, lost the football, picks it up, and goes down at the 24-yard line. The sack will go to Jason Karen. That's the fourth quarterback sack tonight by the Cobber front four.
And this Cobber defense is absolutely superb here after giving up one little breakdown. They've been nothing but superb here tonight, getting in Kemper's face. And it hurts the Johnnies. Kemper isn't quite the passer that the other quarterback is, and that's going to hurt him here a little bit.
The Cobber stopped the Johnnies and forced the punt. Fourth down at the Johnny 23. Stuart Lang is back in punt return. The Johnnies have done a good job in keeping the ball away from him so far. Andy Auger will take the snap. The rush is on, and the kick is away. A driving kick. Lang all the way back to the 38-yard line. Heads to the right side, comes back. Turns upfield across the 45 to the 47. Down there, but the Cobbers got great field position.
Stuart Lang is a phenomenal athlete, and we return punts. It's kind of a death wish because you get a ball coming up there, you got guys flying at you. He does a good job always just taking a couple steps, eluding it, and gaining 5-6 yards, and that's all you need.
He's been averaging 9 yards a return on 26 returns on the season, and he picks up 10 to the 49-yard line where it's first down for the Cobbers, trying to build on a 19-14 lead. Sean McGee and Torrey Langamo wide to the near left side. The offense for Concordia has a lot of playing minutes in tonight's game. Kyle Oderman down the line, waiting for the option, then turns upfield, and just then is hit and brought down. Tackle made by Luke Fraley.
The Cobbers aren't going to go away from that option. That's an integral part of their game. If they were forced to, which happened when it was a 14-0 ball game, it's really tough. If they continue to use the option a little bit, counter option, everything's a break off, the sprint off, pass off of that. They're going to have great success.
A gain of 4 to the 47. It's 2nd and 6. Langamo out to the right side. McGee sets up just outside his tight end on the near left. He'll go in motion now and join Langamo. Out of the eye. First man, Halverson, barrels into the middle, and he is stopped at the 45, leans to the 44-yard line. Tackle was made by Jeremy Rondorf, the linebacker, but a 2-yard gain for Mike Halverson. Sets up third and about 4.
For a front four or front five, should I say, an interior lineman that St. John's, as we've talked about so well, the Cobber offensive line has done a great job here in the second quarter sustaining that.
Another big play, another third down situation for the Cobbers. Torrey Langamo to the near left side. McGee goes wide right, and just as they're ready to handle the snap, a St. John's player heads off the field. He has an equipment adjustment to make. Ted Ruzanik has asked the officials for a timeout. He was quickly headed off to the far side of the field, so I'm not sure if there was something that was not ready for him to play. But both coaches now have an opportunity to talk, and whether or not this will be a charged timeout. We have 3:03 remaining. 19-14. The Cobbers with the lead. They have come from a 14-0 deficit. Giving the Cobber offense a chance. 3 interceptions tonight, 4 sacks. And now it's 3rd and 4. Cobbers at the Johnny 45. Rolling right side. There's a quick out to Torrey Langamo. Leans. He's got the first down and more down the sideline inside the 35, the 30, and down at the 27-yard line.
The option pass again. And, you know, like we were talking about, the Cobbers may not have used it all that much, but it hasn't been so open until here tonight. You know, the Johnnies are going to give up the option or the option pass. They've chosen to give up the option pass, and the Cobbers take advantage of it.
Torrey Langamo has 5 receptions in the first half, and that's a good for a first down at the Johnny 30-yard line. Sean McGee wide near left. Torrey Langamo sets up in the slot, 2:55 to go in the half. Oderman with the snap. He'll turn upfield, tuck it in, and gets about 5 yards to the Johnny 25-yard line. Another nice read by Kyle Oderman. As he saw the seam open up, he was tackled by Trevor Erlinson, the Johnny strong safety.
You know, a lot has been said about the Cobber passing game. Has always been, people say, oh, they're 8th or 9th in the league. They do that on yardage. You fail to realize that Kyle Oderman completed 50% of his passes, and that's what makes him effective. He can do both, run and throw.
Sean McGee wide to the right side. Out of the I formation, they'll stay on the ground. Mike Halverson tries to find some room up the middle and is brought down. Andy Scheck is in there to make the tackle and stops the play for a gain of about a yard. Mike Halverson normally can pick up 3 to 4 yards on that type of play, but that Johnny front four, very stubborn, and he has been held to a yard or 2 on most occasions tonight. Trent Anderson, nose tackle, digs in. Here's the cover on third, and there's the pass out of the far side to Sean McGee. It's knocked away from behind. It will go incomplete. Another look in on a curl into Sean McGee, but a great defensive play on the far side by Brett Mushat to force the incompletion.
What you can do on that, though, is they're setting that up to run into the flat, and what you'll do, you'll run a 5 and out and up, and or a hitch and in, should we say, and hopefully the Johnnies, or the Cobbers are hoping that the Johnnies will suck in on it.
That sets up fourth down for the Cobbers. Kyle Oderman has come to the near sideline quickly to get the play himself. Play clock showing 10 seconds, and they are at the line of scrimmage. 4th and 4 from the Johnny 25. This is 4-down territory. Oderman stops, looks, he'll go up against the grain, leans, and he did not get the first down. He was caught from behind and dropped at the 23. He was just getting ready to throw. Sean McGee may have been open, but I think he felt he was covered and decided to tuck it under. And he comes up short of the first down, and the Cobbers give the ball back to St. John's with 1:46 remaining.
Johnny defensive backs did a great job of coverage there because Kyle Oderman had some time and he had some room to roam, but they just did a great job of covering the receivers. Kyle Oderman didn't want to force an interception.
Well, the Johnnies have been stopped in the second quarter. In fact, have been stopped since midway through the first quarter. And look for them to go for something here with 1:46 remaining, down by 5. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the near right for Pat Kemper. On the drop play, Matt Malmberg. There is room, but then it closes down, and he is brought down a gain of about a yard at the 23-yard line. It's surprising how much room there looks to be that all of a sudden turns into no gain.
That Cobber interior line, like I said, they swarm to the football. They do a good job of hustling to the football, and that's really the key because you can make up for a lot of things if you group tackle.
Both teams have 1 timeout remaining in the half. The Cobbers have used a defensive timeout here, hoping that they will have a chance to give the ball back to the offense before the half comes to an end. Leading 19-14 with 1:36 to go. And Pat Kemper on the little shovel off to Matt Malmberg. They got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was all. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Johnnies, back at their own 23-yard line.
You know, you think that timeout, it might end up being...
He has his backfield split behind him. 2 receivers to the left side. Jeremy Loretz to the near right. Kemper drops to pass. The pass is up. It is tipped at the line of scrimmage and finally incomplete. There were 3 or 4 players that actually had a hand on it. Loretz was one of them, but it was knocked away from him to the turf, and that brings up 3rd down.
Not only do we have great athletes on the front line, we got some smart guys. That was a little set-up screen, and our guys didn't even rush. They just stayed back and contained, and that shows some intelligence there in that front line.
The Fargo Dome, the near side, the side that Concordia is sitting in, the Concordia fans and all, is nearly full to capacity. And on the far side where the Johnnies are, it is comfortably full. Here's Pat Kemper down the line. He'll run the option. He is caught from behind and dropped at the 24-yard line by Shad Young. The roving linebacker for the Cobbers comes through to put the stop on Kemper after a 1-yard gain.
Shad Young is integral in stopping the option because you've got your what you call special DB linebacker there with Shad Young, and he's got to step up and force that quarterback to either step up or make a decision to pitch it. Young doing a great job on the tackle.
And he's a player, too, that has been injured. He missed a couple of games, the St. Olaf game and the McAllister game, due to a groin injury. But it's funny how when it comes to the St. John's game, some of these injuries aren't quite as serious as they had been earlier.
Suddenly those herbal healers come to effect, and these weeks these guys are banged up in the McAllister game, and they're all sitting there hurt. You got 5 or 6 guys sitting on the sideline and suddenly, hey, I'm healed.
St. John's has taken their final timeout with 48 seconds to go, and Win Cobbers have Stuart Lang waiting for the kick at the 38. A long snap. There it is, and the quick approach, sure enough. And again, he is rushed out of the pocket and gets the kick away on the run. A kick that comes directly to Stuart Lang, who comes across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Well, that's twice now that Andy Auger has been forced out of the pocket, and he's had to kick on the run.
And that's why the Cobbers use that timeout, because if they had blocked that kick, hey, you got 30 seconds to work with, and you're inside the 10. But the Johnnies, I wouldn't suspect a trick play, but it almost looked like maybe he was thinking about it, running, and then he decided, heck, I better kick it.
The Cobbers, with no timeout, 38 seconds to go, leading by 5. The ball at their own 41-yard line. McGee wide right. Langamo near left. Haugo out of the backfield in motion. Oderman to pass. Looking and caught by Torrey Langamo out of bounds at the 49-yard line near the first down marker.
For the Cobbers, just driving the ball here again. You know, with 33 seconds, they throw some out patterns, have some success. They might get field goal range, and that's what they're hoping for.
6 receptions in the first half for Torrey Langamo.
You talk about well football games played. These teams are playing every second. They're not giving up the last 33 seconds of this half. They're going to play it all the way through.
The ball spotted at the 48-yard line. Langamo goes wide right with McGee. Hago out of the backfield in motion. Oderman looking for Hago. Throws it up the sideline. It is incomplete. Just didn't quite have enough room to break loose. He was well covered. Hago trying to get past Chuck Eisenman, was bumped out of bounds on the near sideline, and the pass overthrown.
Well, the Johnnies aren't stupid by any means. They know that speed of Dean Hago, and Eisenman doing a great job of playing soft and making sure Hago doesn't get behind him.
So it'll be second down. It's still 28 seconds to go. Cobbers leading 19-14. Again, they trailed at one point early in this game, 14-0, after a long run by Matt Malmberg and a fumble recovery by Trent Anderson. Out of the eye, receivers wide right side. Oderman to pass, rolling right. Now stepping back to the near left side. Under pressure, gets the pass away, and it's picked off at the 40-yard line. Threw it right into the teeth of the coverage, and Chuck Eisenman finally, no, he's not brought down yet. He's at 35, heads upfield. Finally is brought down at the midfield stripe with 12 seconds to go in the half, and a string of tacklers and would-be tacklers all over the field.
Well, if you're going to turn the ball over, you couldn't ask for a better time to do it with only 12 seconds left in the half. Those are one of those turnovers that you just go, thank you.
Chuck Eisenman, sixth interception thrown by Kyle Oderman on the season. And now the Johnnies find themselves in a pretty good situation, although not ideal. Always knowing that they can score from any place on the field. Kurt Ramler is back in. He's the throwing quarterback. He drops into the pocket. Looks long, looks deep. It's up over the middle of the field, and the catch is made. Touchdown! Oh, no! Oh, my! Chris Palmer on a fly pattern right up the gut. Takes it in stride and scores.
And this is what we talked about, the Johnnies and the big plays. They did it last year here. When they look bad for 2 quarters, suddenly one big play, and they're back, and they're ahead in this ball game. It's unbelievable.
They have been stopped, virtually stopped dead cold. And an interception thrown by the Cobbers. Next play, line of scrimmage. 50 yards on the completion, and the Johnnies have regained the lead. Here's the extra point try. The snap put in place. The approach, the kick is up, and it is good. With 5 seconds to go in the half, it's St. John's 21 and Concordia 19.
Life is great at Super 8 in Moorhead. Did you know you have a room waiting? At the Super 8 in Moorhead, there's plenty of room for truck parking and special rates, too. At Moorhead Super 8, they feature clean and quiet rooms, cable TV, plus coffee and donuts in the lobby daily. Ask about Super 8's low-cost way to stay and see how easy it is to have a great stay at Moorhead Super 8. Highway 75 South. Call 233-8880. Good luck, Cobbers, from Super 8.
47 yards pass completion. A 47-yard pass completion to Chris Palmer. Seth Waite tacking on the extra point. Johnnies now lead at 21-19.
Well, I suppose I should put my foot in my mouth after saying Kyle Oderman that was a safe interception, and the Johnnies show me up in that situation, put 6 points on the board.
Here's the kickoff. It'll come to the 12-yard line. Gathered in by Torrey Langamo, and he brings it across the 30 as the horn sounds. So what looked like a 5-point Cobber lead has turned into a 2-point Johnny lead as we go into the locker room. At halftime, at St. John's 21, Concordia 19.
All over, and we won't give up the big play.
And so the teams are on the field for the start of the second half. Cobbers are getting ready. They'll receive. The Johnnies will kick left to right.
Key here for the Cobber team is offensively to get the ball right away, sustain a good long drive, and put the ball in the end zone, and that'll kind of set the tone for the second half.
And so the Johnnies have it teed up, and the kickoff is deep. Torrey Langamo hauls it in at the 11-yard line. Turns upfield. He's across the 20. He gets away from a tackle and is up at the 30-yard line. Torrey Langamo has taken over in the kickoff department for Dean Haugo, and has done a good job on 2 returns, just setting the ball up at the 30-yard line for the Cobbers.
Torrey Langham's got a lot of tools. He runs real well. Like I said, he's the kind of guy, if he catches the pass, he's just like another running back after he catches it. And you want to get him in on the returns. You know, Dean Haugo, give him a little rest, and a guy like Torrey Langham, you don't lose a beat.
It's been a tough night for Dean Haugo, and he's going to need all the strength he can muster for the final 2 quarters of play from his tailback spot. On the first play of the second half, Kyle Oderman down the line, then turns upfield, a nice seam opened up, and a gain of about 4 yards up to the 35-yard line before the stop was made.
You know, all night you look at the option, they haven't gained the yardage they usually gain with the option, but what they have done is kept the Johnnies honest, and it's opened the things up like the option pass, some other counter options, some other plays that break off from that, and that's why they're going to continue to use it.
The Cobbers have been averaging 259 yards rushing per game and 134 for just under 400 yards. They had just about 260 yards of offense in the first half. Dean Haugo on the carry picks up about 3. Stopped at the 37-yard line, so another crucial third down play for the Cobbers. They still have about 3 yards to go. They've had a handful of these situations tonight.
And as a result, you know, you have those long sustained drives, you're going to have that. They've had pretty good success, you know, but that's kind of been their trademark this year. They've done real well and had real good success on third down.
Torrey Langham goes wide to the right side with Sean McGee. Kyle Oderman steps under center. Mike Halverson in front of Dean Haugo. Langham comes to the near side in motion. They look to him. Oderman is under pressure, looking, and he goes down back at the 22-yard line. Everybody was covered, and Scheck finally drags him to the ground.
Johnny's doing a great job of there, continuing to pursue, and anytime you can slow a quarterback up and make him move left or right, you can get help from your other interior linemen, and that's a good job by the Johnnies.
Andy Scheck with his second sack, first one coming in the first half, and now the Cobbers will be forced to kick it away. The line of scrimmage has been moved back to the 24-yard line. Marcus Erickson, 2 kicks for 37.5 yards. In the first half, they'll stand at the 9-yard line. The punt return, the dual return set up. The rush is on, and the kick goes away, angled off to the far side. It bounces. No, it is gathered in right at the 47-yard line by Matt Emmerich. And the freshman brings it across midfield to the Cobber 48. It'll be first down, St. John's.
Because of the big loss on that play, the Johnnies are starting at their, actually in the Cobbers 47, great field position, and that's really the whole key to that was not a matter of punting the ball and turning it over, but it's the field position. The Johnnies have great field position here in the second half.
They'll begin at the Cobber 48. Something they have not enjoyed, this field position. Oh, well, I guess we shouldn't say it's been that long ago because it was at the 47-yard line right at the end of the first half, and a quick strike thrown. Here we've got 4 receivers in the formation for Kurt Ramler, who steps into the pocket and throws over, and Stuart Lang had a chance to make the interception at the 24-yard line, but stumbles and it falls incomplete. You know, Stuart Lang had 3 interceptions in the first win of the season for the Cobbers at Hamlin. Well, if it worked once, it might as well work again. 2nd and 10. Johnny's at the Cobber 48. Again, 4 receivers in the formation for Kurt Ramler, who steps back, looks upfield, and he throws under the coverage, and this one is tipped and deflected. Chris Palmer, the intended receiver, Chad Johnson on the coverage. That brings Ryan Beachy in on third down, an obvious passing situation with still 10 to go.
Ramler did a great job of getting the ball to Palmer. Palmer just flat out dropping it in that situation, and that's really tough for the Johnnies because they need to get some yardage in the passing game.
12:43 to go in the third quarter. We're just underway, second half. Jeremy Loretz is wide to the near right side. 3 receivers wide to the left. Cobbers are over there and match up one-on-one. Ramler is back to pass. He'll lob it up and over the top, and it is incomplete. He was waiting for Palmer to run underneath it. That's a nifty pass play. All you have to do is throw it up because you've got receivers that can camp under and make the reception.
What they're doing is they're forcing some receivers on some post patterns away. It's forcing the guys up top to have to be honest, and they're running the guy right up the middle. And you can split the 2 defensive backs who are supposed to be playing center field, but they can't because they have to be honest with the post pattern. And the Johnnies, I see them using it later on this game again.
Johnny's unable to pick up any yardage on 3 tries. Now we'll step back into punt formation. Andy Auger standing at his 38. Stuart Lang is back in punt return at the 12. Snap a bit off the mark, but he gets the kick away. Angles it away from Lang. He signals a fair catch and makes it inside the 20 at the 19-yard line.
We talk about the punting game being crucial from both sides. The Johnnies, against Hamlin in their loss, they had 2 punts blocked, should I say.
Are outside of the city limits of Moorhead. Well, they step across the river and they get to Fargo, and it was inevitable, I guess, that the Johnnies were going to score. They lead at 21-19. Cobbers had 4 shutouts prior to this against conference opponents on the road. First play, a gain of a yard at the 21.
Points could be given up just the fact. When you talk about what a link to that, you got a kid like Fox here from Glendon, and the head coach from Breckenridge, Terry Horan, is a graduate.
9. For the Cobbers, they'll come up from their own 21. Sean McGee, Torrey Langamo near left side. I formation, Dean Hoggle the tailback. Kyle Oderman Jr. from Dickinson Trinity rolls near side, double pumps, and then goes deep. It's up and over the top for McGee, and he stumbles, and it is incomplete. He was out of position to make the turn upfield and actually stumbled over his own feet as he was trying to gauge where the ball was being thrown.
That's that option sprint pass I was talking about where you hit the flat, They were trying to get the Johnnies to suck in. They tried here to go deep, and actually, if the pass would have been on, McGee was actually open on the post pattern.
Brings up third down for the Cobbers back at their own 21-yard line. Just over 12 minutes to go in the third quarter. Cobbers trailing 21-19. An unusual game, but not so unusual when you consider the fact that it's Concordia and St. John. McGee and Torrey Langamo near left side. I formation on 3rd and 9. Langamo back to the slot in motion as Oderman looks and throws. He's got McGee, but it's dropped. I almost wonder if he didn't hear the defender come crashing in. Mark Smith, who had been injured through a part of the year, was closing in on Torrey Langamo, or on Sean McGee rather, and the pass falls to the turf.
As a receiver, that's the toughest one. It's kind of across.
Erickson is back to kick again for the Cobbers. He'll stand now near his 5-yard line. The game of field position in the second half is favoring St. John. They have 9 men at the line of scrimmage. There's the snap and the kick away. Erickson booms this one nice, driving Loretz all the way back to the 33-yard line. He'll head upfield, then go to the far side, and is brought down at the 26. Chad Young catching up to Jeremy Loretz at the 27-yard line. Great special teams play.
2 players coming up big. Erickson with a phenomenal punt, actually kicking his defenders, but Chad Young doing a great job on open field tackle.
Nice punt, and the game of field position now goes to the Cobber defense as the Johnnies come up at their own 26-yard line, first down with a 2-point lead and just under 12 minutes to go. 3 receivers to the near right side for Kurt Ramler. Wide receiver left, a single setback. And the snap is dropped, but Ramler picks it up and heads upfield across the 31. He actually picked up 5 yards. The play happened so quickly it even caught the defense off guard.
I tell you what, I'm really scared when there's a broken play because the Johnnies are the team to make things happen, the king of broken play. They might as well just drop the ball, kind of scramble a little bit, and they'll probably score out of it.
Ended up picking up 6 yards at 2nd and 4 for the Johnnies. The 3 receivers to the near right side with a single receiver left for Kurt Ramler. He's a sophomore from Chaska. A lone setback. There's the turn, the handoff. Matt Malmberg is hit by Mike Solberg and brought down. What a big hit. Jared Scheck was underneath, but Solberg made the stop.
Solberg doing a great job of stepping up and plugging the hole, and no yardage for the Johnnies. Wonder if Rammer's going to call the Fumblerooski here, or maybe another broken play. Hey, guys, let's get a broken play. We'll score.
It's worked well for them so far. It's 3rd and 3. Ball has been moved out to the 33-yard line with 10:50 to go in the third. Chris Palmer, wide left side. Jeremy Loretz to the near right side. Ramler has a tight end on the left. Backs are split. Long count for Ramler, hoping to draw the Cobbers. They show the blitz. There's the handoff and the play on the reverse up. It looks like he's got the first down across the 36-yard line. The play to Mike Faber. It's the first time he's carried the ball tonight. He lines up as a tailback or the lone setback. Senior from Apollo just doesn't carry the ball very often. 16 carries on the season coming in.
Maybe the Johnnies here are trying to mix things up a little bit and quit keying on the other back. And as a result, they got a first down.
The ball has been placed at the 37. Loretz will come wide to the near right side. 21-19 St. John. 10:20 to go third. Single setback. 3 receivers in the formation. Back to pass. Ramler with time now. He runs out of time. Runs out of the pocket. sets and still looks. Now he goes to the far side, and the catch, Andy Auger at the Carver 47-yard line. Chad Johnson across defensively for the Cobbers, but Auger worked his way loose, and Rambler found him.
And again, that's a broken play. You got a situation where Rambler got outside and eluded all the pass rushers, and the patterns now are guys are just trying to get open any which way they can, and it's kind of like a good game of pickup football there.
Andy Auger's first catch of the night, 15th of the season. And a first down at the Carver 47. Twin receivers left, single receiver right. Rambler into the pocket. There's the screen pass set up to Matt Malmberg, and Tim Langemo comes up from the strong safety spot and makes the tackle.
A lot of coaches talk about one big word, and that's technique. In Langemo, you couldn't ask for better technique there. Doing a great job pursuing the defender and tackling him. Good open field tackle.
Matt Malmberg has 3 catches tonight, but 2 of them have been minus yardage.
Malmberg, every time he catches the ball, I'm sure he's looking over his shoulder, wondering Langemo's been in his face twice now.
Loss of 6, 2nd and 16. Loretz wide left, 3 receivers near right. As Kurt Rambler steps under center at his own 47-yard line. And again to pass. There's the shovel pass ahead to Matt Malmberg, and Chad Johnson is there and brings him down at the line of scrimmage. What a great reaction by Chad Johnson to stop the play for no gain.
The Carver defense has done a great job of containing and doing their job, and as a result, they're really frustrating the Johnnies here.
You take a look at statistics, and statistics are for broadcasters and fans. We know that. But the Carver defense has got to feel really good about the numbers that they're putting up on the board, even though the scoreboard shows the Cobbers trailing by 2. It is 3rd and 16. Rambler fakes the draw, drops the football, picks it up, and he goes down. Jared Scheck catches up to him at the 32-yard line. Jared Scheck will get this sack, only his 2nd of the season, but the 5th recorded by the front 4 tonight.
This play right here is going to be crucial. This punt play, it's going to determine the field position. I suspect the Cobbers are going to send 10 men and really try to pursue and hopefully block this kick.
As they line it up, Andy Auger steps back. Stuart Lang is back in punt return. And here's the snap. The kick is away. It's a high kick. Lang signaling the fair catch at the 32-yard line. And a wise choice, I think. That kick just plain hung up a long time. And it'll be 19 at their own 32, first down. Torrey Langemo. Sean McGee near left side. I formation. Kyle Oderman under center, rolls near left side on the option. The pitch out to Dean Haugob. A great pursuit, and he's brought down. A nice open field tackle by the Johnnies. Strong safety Trevor Erlinson coming up, and that's twice he's been able to get into the backfield and make that play not work.
Not many guys have that athletic ability to step up and stop the option like that, but the Johnny defense has got some excellent skilled players out there that can hustle the football.
Erlinson, a junior from Uppsala. A loss of a yard, 2nd and 11. The Cobbers now near their own 30. Send Sean McGee wide to the right side. Torrey Langemo will be the wing on the near left. He'll go in motion to McGee's side. As Oderman drops the pass, swings it out on the near side. It is deflected into the Carver bench by Chuck Eisenman. Corner on the near side, right in the face of Torrey Langemo. Reaches up and deflects the pass incomplete. And it's 3rd and 11.
Well, you know the Johnnies went in at halftime and made some excellent adjustments here because they've done a pretty good job. The Carver offense in check, and as a result, the Cobbers look like they're a little bit frustrated.
We are halfway through the 3rd quarter. We've had no scoring. It remains St. John's 21-19 as the Cobbers come up on 3rd and 11. 3rd quarter to this point has been a game of the punter. Wide receivers to the right side. As Oderman rolls in that direction, sets and throws. He's got his man out, but overthrows, and no penalty flag. Incomplete pass, ruled uncatchable along the far side, intended for Torrey Langemo. Back on the field, Marcus Erickson.
Should I say St. John's defense did a great job. Their defensive backs there, because Oderman had a lot of time, but both receivers.
A dual return set up. DJ Core and Jeremy Loretz waiting at the 32-yard line. Long count. There's the snap. A bit high, but pulled in. And a kick away by Erickson, the sophomore from Hawley. Loretz takes it on the fly and steps out of bounds near the 40-yard line. First down, Johnny.
Giants have good field position.
For St. John, 21-19, 7:15 to go in the 3rd. Palmer wide left side. Loretz to the near right. Ramler, shovel pass ahead. And the play is stopped at the 45, the 47. Shad Young comes up to make the stop. This time, the Johnnies go to Andy Auger, who lines up as a tight end, and he took the shovel that time. And a gain of about 7.
Andy Auger is a good-sized kid. You're looking at a guy that's 5'6", 210 pounds. He's a good-sized kid. He hit Shad Young and took Shad Young for 3 or 4 yards there.
So 2nd and 3 for the Johnnies. Strong formation right side for Kurt Ramler. He'll go on the ground, and DJ Kohrs wrapped up and down. Big loss inside the 45. They'll spot it near. They'll spot his forward motion at the 45-yard line. That's a loss of 3 yards.
Cobber Stunton and Jared Scheck doing a great job at just accelerating through that line. Nobody blocked him. He steps up and makes a great tackle.
Now it's 3rd and 7 at the 45-yard line with 6:14 to go. Jeremy Loretz goes wide to the left side with 2 other receivers. Lone setback. Kurt Ramler drops the pass unprotected. Looks quickly, finds his man. Loretz is open, has the first down inside the 45 at the 43-yard line, and that's the first Johnny first down since early in the first half.
One thing I've noticed, the Cobbers really haven't been bumping guys, and that's been something they usually do with their defensive backs, bump guys at the front line. As a result, Johnny's ran a slant pattern there, and anytime you run a slant pattern, you don't bump them at the front line, you're going to beat your defender.
It's first down St. John's at the Cobber 43. 5:49 to go in the third. Johnny's with a 2-point advantage. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Kurt Ramler drops into the pocket. It's pass on every down. There's another shovel pass. And Matt Malmberg has run out of bounds near the 40-yard line. He's got 2, maybe 3 yards before he's pushed down. Chad Freese along the way, running him out of bounds.
Matt Malmberg showing his ability as not only as a running back, he catches the ball, he can kind of make some things happen. He's just an excellent running back.
That's the kind of play that when it was first being used, caught a lot of teams unprepared and unguarded, and it went for a lot of big yardage. It takes the reaction, the good reaction. And the Cobbers apparently have had that play well scouted. They've stopped it for little yardage. 3 receivers to the left. Loretz to the near right side. As Ramler steps under center, Cobbers again showing the blitz, and Ramler spotting it, tries to ease off the left side of his center, manages a couple of yards. He saw everybody up on the line.
Smart job by Ramler there. Just didn't want to get a sack and didn't want that situation, so he just did a good job of gaining a yard.
I expect he made that move on his own. You don't quarterback sneak from the opponent 40-yard line on 2nd and long.
You could tell it did because his lineman went right into pass blocking situation. He just didn't want to prevent getting a sack.
It's 3rd and 5. The Cobber fans cheering for the defense. 3 receivers in the formation for Kurt Ramler. Drops the pass, shoots one over the middle. It is picked off by Stuart Lang at the 27-yard line. Intended for Jeremy Loretz. It slipped away from him. Lang was waiting, and the Cobbers have the football.
And Ramler's telling himself, hey, you know, I threw a perfect pass, right receiver, bounces off, Stuart Lang. The right man at the right time, and if the Cobbers can take advantage of this turnover here, it's big.
5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery for the Cobber defensive unit tonight. And this time they give the ball to the offense at their own 28-yard line. Sean McGee and Torrey Langamo to the near left side. Just under 5 minutes to go in the third. Cobbers trailing by 2. Out of the eye. They'll go on the ground. Dean Hago, nothing to the right, up the middle. He found some room and picks up 9, almost 10 yards. He's close to the first down marker.
Counter Trey, they haven't used it since early in the second quarter where he busted loose with a big touchdown. And in that situation, they're going back to those little things they can use. They sneak a couple of little plays in, and you never know. Great job at Dean Hago, though, of gaining the extra yardage.
Just short of the first down. It's 2nd in inches. They're going to make sure of just how many inches. The Cobbers already feeling that it's short of the down, have brought in their short yardage offense. And that features Nathan Merseth as the 2nd tight end. Eli Schuff joins Mike Halverson and Dean Hago in the backfield. They form a T formation. It's called a dead T, and it is just inches. I don't think he could slip his hand between the end of the football and the down marker.
No, it's very close. You go to this tight T, you know, it's kind of a mental thing, too. If you get the first down and you physically go at another team, sometimes they can break their back a little bit.
Cobbers on 2nd and inches at their own 37-yard line. 4:44 to go in the third, trailing 21-19. Stakes are in place on the far side as Kyle Oderman brings the Cobbers up to the line of scrimmage. Mark Weishauer is the tight end on the right side. We've mentioned Merseth on the near left. Dead T behind Oderman. He takes the snap, turns, drops the snap, and tries to wrestle it loose again. We've got a scramble at the 43-yard line, but Kyle Oderman, actually, he didn't end up with the football. I think one of the interior linemen ended up with it. Chad Schwartz, the offensive center.
Couldn't ask for a more sure-handed guy to look for the ball down there. With Chad Schwartz being the center, I think he felt it
forced the ball to the turf, and now it's 3rd and inches. Cobbers at their own 37. Oderman takes the snap. This time hands off to Mike Halverson, who pounds off right side. Looks like he's got the first down as he backs his way across the 38.
He didn't get a very good mark, it looks like, but it looks like he still got the first down.
Mike Halverson running behind replacement guard Tom Fox, who has into the lineup now, replacing Jed Seeger, who left the game minutes ago after being shaken up. Sean McGee goes wide right. It was enough for the first down, and they'll line up with an I formation. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the near left. Kyle Oderman drops the snap again, but gets the ball off to Dean Halgo, and he manages to get back to the line of scrimmage, plus about a foot.
There must be something going on between Schwartz and Kyle Oderman. Maybe he's not feeling the ball when it snaps, and either that or he's feeling it and pulling off too soon, and as a result, the Cobbers have lost a couple downs.
3 and
as quick as he does.
Oderman comes up on 2nd and almost 10. Wide receivers to the right. Now Halverson shifts into a straight I. Down the line. Looking for the option. The pitch goes out to Dean Halgo to the corner. He's got the first down near midfield. A great feel for the option by Kyle Oderman. He brought the corner in to him, and at just that moment, pitched the ball out.
That's the first time all night that you haven't, or that we've seen the Cobbers actually just cut down and obsolete the outside part of the Johnny's defense. And like I said, that's why you never go away with the option. You just continue to use it because there's that one time where it'll end up being a big play.
Dean Halgo with a well-deserved rest on the near sideline. Eli Schuff is in the backfield. 43 carries on the season for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eli Schuff from Billings. It's first down at the Johnny 49-yard line. Kyle Oderman rolls, and he looks for Sean McGee, but the pass was not well thrown and falls incomplete.
The ball, actually, if he'd have lost it a little bit, McGee had his 2 defenders, split the defenders, and actually beat him. If he'd had a little more loft on the ball, it might have been 6 points Cubs.
2:36 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Time has stopped with the incompletion. It'll be 2nd down at the St. John's 48-yard line. Mark Weishauer goes wide to the right side. He has 2 catches tonight, 1 for a score. Sean McGee and Torrey Langamo to the near left side. As Oderman again to the option. Yeah, this time he'll keep it himself. It was well defense. This time they didn't take the bite. Jeremy Rondorf comes up to put the stop on Oderman. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, the option is decided by the defensive end, and what the Johnnies do so well is their defensive end is also a good actor in that part. He doesn't commit until the last second also. He's forcing Oderman to make a decision a little earlier than Oderman like, and as a result, the linebackers are getting enough time to step up and help up top.
It's 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8 for the Cobbers at the St. John's 46-yard line. We are at the 2-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. There's been no scoring in the 2nd half. Cobbers still trailing by 2. Here's Oderman. Dropping and rolling to the right side, then throwing up the middle. He's got McGee, and it is incomplete at the 15-yard line. He was actually tackled, and you can hear the boos. They felt there should be an interference call on Mark Smith, who tackled Sean McGee before he had a chance to make the catch. It comes off his fingertips, incomplete, and Marcus Erickson is on to punt.
I tell you what, they're lucky there isn't an instant replay screen sitting up there because the crowd would be all over these referees. That was definitely a pass interference.
Marcus Erickson now will stand at his 40-yard line to kick it away. Lorette and DJ Core waiting for the punt at their own 10-yard line. Johnnies have been putting a lot of pressure on Erickson, and they come again. But it's blocked. The blockers, rather, do their job, and the fair catch is made at the 16-yard line. Jeremy Lorette with the 5th one. Jeremy Lorette goes wide left. Chris Palmer to the near right side for Kurt Rambler. Backs are split. Down the line, and this time the play is across the 20 and up near the 22-yard line. Faber on the carry, or rather the call goes to DJ Core. A rare carry by the halfback for St. John's, and a gain of about 4 yards at second down and 6. Clock is running, 1:25 remaining in the third quarter. Copper defense has called their play, and they're ready. Here come the Johnnies with Loretz and Palmer to the near right side. Andy Auger spread wide from his tight end spot, standing off left. Ramler's back to pass, looking right, goes left, and the back, Matt Malmberg, stumbled as he came out of the backfield and was on his knees as the pass was thrown. Never had a chance at the reception that falls incomplete.
Malmberg tripped on the play, and Ramler, definitely that was just, he usually the safety valve, but Ramler set to throw to him right away. They were trying to set up a screen play, it looked like.
Ryan Beachy, nickelback, with an interception tonight in the lineup for the Cobbers on 3rd and 6. Two receivers to the near right side. Corin Malmberg in the backfield. Auger spread wide left. Ramler fakes the counter play, looks up the middle of the field, and he's got Palmer wide open. He has got good speed, and he is on his way. Nobody's going to catch him. Chris Palmer has just scored on a 78-yard pass completion. The great speed of Chris Palmer again has beaten the Cobbers secondary, and once he got his hands on the ball, he was on his way.
They ran those two post patterns out. The guys up top in the nickel package are forced to move out a little bit, and you split the two defenders on a dead run pass pattern, and again, 6 points Johnnies.
And it comes at what is best called the most convenient time. It comes at a time when momentum is indecisive, and it comes near the end of a quarter. And the Johnnies now for the extra point. They lead it by 8. That means a 2-score situation for the Cobbers. The placement and the kick is up, and it is good. 54 seconds to go in the third. It's St. John's 28 and Concordia 19.
Cher's Kitchen wishes the best of luck.
Is at the line of scrimmage, but have not been able to stop the big play. And as a result, the Johnnies lead it 28-19. And here's the Johnny kickoff. End over end, up the middle of the field. Torrey Langamo backs up to the 5-yard line and heads upfield. He's at the 10, the 15, the 20, takes a hit, and goes down at the 24-yard line. The hit put on by Kyle Cray, sophomore on the special team. And the Cobbers, who have not been able to string together a concerted offense here in the second half, take over at their own 24-yard line.
You talk about giving up the big play, and that's what really hurts. St. John's does that, and it kind of has a mental hurt to you because of the tragedy of it all. I guess you give it up in such a drastic hurry, and that's what the Johnnies do to break teams back.
I formation, receivers wide right side for Kyle Oderman. Rolls out and flips out to Torrey Langamo, who hauls it in at the 32 and leans ahead near the first down marker at the 34-yard line. Torrey Langamo with the reception. That gives him 7 catches now on the night. Attendance tonight, 8,500. Great turnout for this possible conference championship game. 8,500 here tonight. Last year they played before about 6,500 people, I think, were in attendance that night. They came out to watch the St. John's juggernaut. And tonight they're watching a great battle between two small college powers.
But you got to agree, they've definitely got their money's worth.
They had their money's worth in the first 2 minutes of the first quarter. Short yardage situation, handoff right side. Mike Halverson leans across the 35, and that's a Cobber first down. So they'll stop the clock to move the chains with 1 second left. And that will be, and that has been, the last play of the third quarter. And we'll go to the fourth quarter of play here at the Fargo Dome with the score after 3. St. John's 28 and Concordia 19.
Red River Valley Sports Medicine Institute in Fargo is North Dakota's first and most comprehensive sports medicine facility.
They frustrate the Cobbers a little bit, and the Cobbers probably need a big play themselves.
Kyle Oderman will start the Cobber fourth quarter on a first down play at his own 35-yard line. Cobbers in the fourth go left to right. Twin receivers wide left side with Weishauer spread wide right. There's the quick out pass. It's deflected and incomplete. The pass overthrown, intended for Torrey Langamo. Defensive coverage by Mark Smith.
Talk about differences in halves. In the first half, Kyle Oderman would have been on the button there, hitting Torrey Langamo. said, he's been off a couple times, and as a result, the Cobbers have been second down in long situations.
21-19 at the half, and it was 21-19 until the 54-second mark of the third quarter. Chris Palmer, a 78-yard touchdown reception. He loves to play in this dome. He hurt the Cobbers last year. Twin receivers wide left side. Mark Weishaupt wide to the near right. Cobbers need 2 scores to get back on top, and there's the pass thrown into coverage, and we will get the penalty flag this time. Torrey Langamo was in amongst 3 St. John's defenders, and he was bumped off the play, and the penalty flag comes down. John Gallardi is out. He didn't like the call. Of course not. It was against his Johnnies. But
what's so ironic is that one wasn't quite as apparent as the one before on McGee. So what comes around goes around, I guess.
Interference against the Johnnies. First down, Concordia.
Sometimes in these situations, what happened, a referee might know that he blew a call. And then it kind of is a factor later on where there's one that might be debatable, and it's definitely going to go in the other team's favor.
The ball is put down at the 45-yard line as Sean McGee comes wide to the near right side. Torrey Langamo goes wide left. Cobbers trailing by 9. Out of the I formation for Kyle Oderman. Rolls left, then steps into the pocket and goes deep. He's got Sean McGee, and it is knocked away on a great defensive play by the Johnnies. Brett Mushat stepped in front and slapped it away from Sean McGee.
Brett Mushat a couple inches shorter than McGee, but showing he's got a great vertical, doing a great job of just knocking the ball away, not trying to get the interception and go up with 2 hands, just make sure McGee didn't catch the pass.
That'll bring up second down. Back at the 45-yard line. We're in the first minute of the fourth quarter. Johnny's leading 28-19 over Concordia. Both teams come in with conference marks of 6-1. Wide receiver near right. Offset I formation for Oderman. Rolls down the line. Trying to set up the option. Swings the pass out for Torrey Langamo. And again, he rifles it in. And the soft touch that was there in the first half is gone here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you can see Jim Christopherson saying something to Kyle Oderman like, hey, relax. You know, you're okay. Don't force the thing that you don't want. And try to draw that out a little longer and make the read.
We went into today's college activity with all 3 local colleges in line for a conference championship or a share. North Dakota State losing at Northern Colorado. Moorhead State tying Winona. And now the Cobbers trail St. John's by 9 in the fourth quarter. Dean Hago in motion left. Back to pass Oderman. He's got his man McGee open near the first down marker. He's flung to the ground at the 44-yard line. Let's see where they spot it. Looks like a right foot mark, and that would give the Cobbers a first down. Great job by Sean McGee.
Sean McGee, like we said, we didn't hear much from him. He's really come alive here today. He's really been crucial, made some crucial catches for first down. Out of probably the 5 receptions he's had, 4 of them have been first downs.
And a touchdown. He also has a touchdown mixed into that. So the chains move along for the Cobbers, who now have it at the Johnny 43. McGee will go wide left side. Sophomore from Bloomington Jefferson. His Jaguars still alive in State AA football, Minnesota. Back to pass Kyle Oderman. Sets. Double pump. Caught from behind and dragged down. Everybody well covered. Kyle Oderman couldn't find anybody to throw to, and he is sacked at the 47-yard line.
Going to the well maybe one too many times with the passing game. They've got to make sure to use that running game also. They have to be balanced, and that's been the success of the Cobbers, and they got to stay with that.
Time of possession is equaling out. In the third quarter, the Cobbers had the ball for 7:35. The Johnnies had the ball 7:25. The Cobbers had almost doubled the time of possession in the first half. Dean Hago now has carried the ball 15 times for 81 yards. Matt Malmberg, 9 times for 71 yards. Here's Kyle Oderman on 2nd and 15. The pass off, or the handoff rather, to Dean Hago, and he moves laterally along the 45-yard line and goes down after a 2-yard gain.
Remember, we mentioned many times over the course of the season that Dean Hago, if he gets over 100 yards and carries the ball 20, 25 times, it usually ends up in a Cobber victory, and he's about on that pace, so we're still in the ballgame here.
Kyle Oderman, after 3 quarters, 13 of 28 passing for 184 yards. He's been sacked 3 times, intercepted once, and has thrown 2 touchdowns. Kurt Ramler is 11 of 22. He has thrown 3 interceptions, has thrown 2 touchdown passes, has been sacked 5 times, and his 11 completions good for 182 yards. Cobbers on 3rd and 13. Rolling deeper and wider. Now double pumping and under coverage. It is deflected. We have a penalty flag at the 27-yard line. Sean McGee, the intended receiver. The defensive back for the Johnnies was Brett Mushat. And the officials with the discussion at the 45-yard line. Illegal use of the hands on the Johnny defense.
After making a great play, the Johnny defense, but they're hurting themselves by penalties here. Two pass interference, or should I say, two pass interference plays here in the drive, and they've helped the Cobbers big time.
So the yardage puts the ball at the 35-yard line. And it's an automatic. It'll be a first down. They'll move up the chain. And the Cowboys will work off the left hash mark.
That is unbelievably a crucial play. The Cobbers have been given two gifts here, and let's see if they take advantage of it.
Now at the Johnny 35. Cobbers trailing by 9. Wide receivers to the near right. Mike Halverson in front of Eli Schuff in the backfield. Oderman rolls down the line. Now he'll step into the pocket and runs right into Brian Cohorst. Cohorst had a big first quarter in stopping the Cobbers. Now he comes in with a crucial stop there on Oderman for a loss of a yard, and it's second at 11.
Well, like I mentioned again, they need to get Dean Hoggle. He's on the sidelines right now, but they need to get him in the ball game and get him the ball. We need to get him the ball 25 times a game to have some success.
So the ball put down at the 36. The clock working along. 12:10 to play. Sean McGee goes wide left side. Torrey Langamo there with him. Again, Eli Schuff in the backfield. There's the swing pass out, and it is underthrown. Kyle Oderman rifling that one into the ankles of Torrey Langamo for an incompletion, and it's third and 11.
Tough situation for the Cobbers. Third and 11. They've thrown the ball twice here now, and obviously they're forced in a passing situation here, so the Johnnies will probably come in some nickel-type package.
It's been interesting, and the antics of John Gilardi along the sidelines have become legendary, but after being in the game for almost 40 years, he is still into every game and every play. Out of the eye. Oderman drops the pass, shoots one over the middle, and it is picked off at the 21-yard line by Trevor Erlinson. Then he is caught and brought down by Torrey Langamo. The pass thrown long before Mark Weishauer even had a chance to look for it. And Erlinson steps in for the interception, and the Cobbers turn it over.
There's some miscommunication there because Oderman threw it on the inside break of Weishauer, and Weishauer broke outside on the outside post. And actually, he was wide open, so I don't know who actually ran the wrong pattern, but he was open.
Second interception thrown by Oderman. First one coming near the end of the half. Johnny's taking advantage of that one to lead in the locker room. Now the Johnnies take over at their own 26-yard line. Cobbers defense called on again. Here's the call to DJ Core, and he takes a big hit at the 25 and goes down.
That's big. The Cobber defense probably saying, hey, sudden change, guys, sudden change. We definitely got to stop him here because now the clock starts to be a factor with 11, little over 11 minutes. You start thinking about time now.
Brian Bowl making the stop for the Cobbers. Despite the fact that we have 47 points up on the board, this has been a great defensive game.
Oh, it has. Really, the Cobber defense has done a great job. It's just a big play they've given up.
Second and 11 for St. John. Backs are split for Kurt Ramler. Fakes the counter, drops, stays in the pocket, now is flushed out, and he gets the pass off to Matt Malmberg, but again, it'll go for minus yardage. And the pass came, it was a little shovel forward to Malmberg, came just as Ramler was going to the turf.
Great job by the Cobber defense again, swarming to the football. That's really the key. If you do that, you're going to be in a good situation. I tell you what, some bodies are being thrown here. 57, Dan Jost just laid a big-time hit on Chad Johnson. After each play, both teams are really going at it here tonight.
4 receptions to Matt Malmberg, 3 of them for minus yardage. And now it's third and 13. The Johnnies at their own 24. 10:41 to go in the ballgame. Johnnies with a 9-point lead at 28-19. Single setback, 3 receivers, Ramler to pass. Under pressure, it goes down. It is an incomplete pass. His arm was in forward motion. Chad Young came in from the blind side and put Ramler on the turf.
Again, though, that's a debatable call because his arm actually wasn't forward. He came up, he's got a long release, and he released the ball real high. As he came up, the ball popped straight up in the air. If it's a forward pass, the ball should, or actually if it's a attempted pass, usually the ball bounces forward, but it didn't in that situation.
So it's fourth down, and the Cobber defense, after the offense created a turnover, have held. And the Johnnies, Andy Auger on to punt from his 10-yard line. Cobbers have 10 men on the line. Stuart Lang is back in punt return. Snap is low, but the kick away. A high kick, and again Lang will be forced to make the fair catch at the 47-yard line. First down for Concordia with 10:21 to go in the fourth.
Good field position for the Cobbers, though. You know, with 10 minutes left, you start looking at the clock. If they can drive the ball down right here, they're in a great situation.
It has been tough for the Cobber offense in this ball game to generate any kind of consistency, especially here in the second half. After a slow start, they seem to get their offense. Mentioned at halftime, it could just as well have been the Cobbers up 35-19 or 35-13. Out of the I formation, receivers to the left and to the right for Kyle Oderman, who passes, complete. Mark Weishauer, 40, 35-30. Takes a hit, loses the ball. Johnny's recover at the 24. So even when good things happen, it turns out bad. And the fumble is recovered by Mike Sante.
Cobber offense walking off a little sluggish after that, and they shouldn't be really. They still got some time left. Defense, they do a good job here on sudden change again. They're still in an okay situation. What a bummer, though, for Weishauer on a great play there, but just turned the ball over.
After struggling finding his receivers, Kyle Oderman finds Mark Weishauer, but he is separated from the football. Mike Sontag comes up with a fumble recovery, and the Johnny offense is back on at their 24. Single setback. The call to Momberg, and he is met head-on. Tim Langemo, the strong safety. Chad Young, the Rover linebacker, there to make the tackle on Momberg.
Talk about stepping up to the occasion. This Cobber defense has done an excellent job in this quarter of the sudden change, stepping up and rising to the occasion. They've just been absolutely unbelievable in this fourth quarter.
A loss of 6 yards. It is 2nd and 16. The Johnnies from their own 19-yard line with 9:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Jeremy Loretz wide right. Andy Auger wide to the near left side. Backs are split. Ramler in the pocket. Rifles one over the middle. It is deflected by Chad Johnson away from the intended receiver, Chris Palmer, and incomplete.
Again, they run those post patterns, force the two defenders up top to go outside, and they run a guy across the middle. And that pass, if the linebacker Chad Johnson wouldn't have got it tipped on it, it would have been a caught pass.
Chad Johnson 6'2", and he needed all of it. Incompletion, it's 3rd and 16.
That's when you hope he has a basketball background.
Yep. Loretz is wide to the near left. Johnny's with 9.5 to play, leading by 9. 3 receivers wide right for Ramler. In the pocket, lobs it up over, and it is incomplete. There was nowhere near the intended receiver, Chris Palmer. He's looking for some help from the official. And Ramler is out on the field, too. He's walking all the way out towards midfield to talk with the official on that one.
What Ramler's complaining about is his receiver was hit. It looked like maybe past 5 yards, but the Cobbers are starting to bump the receivers, and that's going to help them a little bit.
And so the pass harmlessly on the turf. And the Johnny punter, Andy Auger, is on. He'll stand near the 5-yard line to kick it away. The clock has stopped. We're not sure why. All clocks have stopped here, of course, on that incompletion. But the play clock had not started. Now it does. Not sure as to why the delay on that. Cobbers again with the rush, but the kick away. As Stuart Lang comes up, hauls it in at the 47, comes to the near sideline, 45-40, and undercut inside the 40 at the 38-yard line. Mark Meyer off the special teams for the Johnnies making the stop.
You know what makes Stuart Lang so effective? When he catches the ball, he goes north-south. He's not the kind of returner, and that's what you want. You want a guy that's just going to get you nothing but positive yardage. A lot of times guys return punts, and they kind of dance around. They end up losing yardage. But he knows his job. He's not going to outrun anybody. He just goes straight north-south.
Despite giving the ball up twice here in the second half, the Cobbers now trail by 9, have a first down at the Johnny 37-yard line. Kyle Oderman in the pocket, goes over the middle, and this one is overthrown. Mark Weishauer, again the intended receiver. Erlinson stepping up defensively.
That's a tight end release pattern with Weishauer bumping his blocker and then releasing off. And it's been there both times. Weishauer looked like he might have heard some footsteps. Oderman overthrowing him.
The incompletion stops the clock with 9:08 to go.
talk about character of a team, and anytime you turn the ball over, we'll kind of see what kind of character this offense has here. They've kind of overcome some adversities here tonight.
Sean McGee goes wide left with Torrey Langamo. Kyle Oderman down the line, the quick outlet for Langamo. He hauls it in and goes down at the 33-yard line. That's a gain of 5 yards. Langamo with his 8th catch of the night. There was a penalty flag down on the tackle. A personal foul on the Johnnies as the tackle on Langamo on the far side, and as he was on the turf, we all of a sudden saw the yellow flag come down in the midst of that.
What happened was Langamo caught the pass. Eisenman disagreed. He kept pointing to the referee, kind of gibbering, and the referee's just not going to take it. So Eisenman gets a penalty, and as a result, it's positive Cobbers.
And now, not only Eisenman was talking with the officials, but John Gallardi is walking all the way up the sideline on the far side, is following the officials to the down marker.
And Gallardi himself isn't exempt from this. No. Even though he's got many years of experience and is a great coach, he's not going to be exempt from that yellow flag. So if he continues to chirp, we might see another one.
The penalty yardage puts the ball inside the 20 at the 19. First down, Concordia. Wide receivers near right side for Kyle Oderman. There's the flip out to Dean Halgo, and he has no place. He's looking to pass. Still looking into the end zone. He rifles it in. Touchdown! It's incomplete. It was on the hands of Sean McGee, and what a perfect pass by Dean Halgo. We have not seen that in 2 years of following Dean Halgo.
This is uncharacteristic of the Cobbers, coming out with something that the Johnnies might use, razzle and dazzle. And it could have worked to their advantage. He had a lot of time, and Dean Halgo looks like he was an outfielder or a quarterback in his pass time.
And actually, the pass was right there for McGee, or Weishauer, who was in the end zone, and he had it right in the midsection, but he took a bump just as he made connection, and it fell away.
Smart by Halgo, though, not to force the ball, and he threw it to the sideline.
Second down at the Johnnies 17. Out of the eye, Oderman looks up the middle of the field, and he'll eat this one and go down at the 24. Big pursuit put on by the Johnnies. Brian Dieters comes in to make the stop, and he's just a sophomore, one of the many young players in the MIAC this year that are getting a lot of playing time.
You have seen a lot of young players this year, and that's a good sign because these guys will become a little more experienced. Just about every team we've seen have had some good group of freshmen, sophomore, and that's just good recruiting by the MIAC coaches.
Now it's third down. 16 yards to go for the first down. The official has stopped the clock with 8:02 remaining and has gone over to the St. John's sideline and is talking with head coach John Gallardi.
I tell you what, Gallardi, for being an older fella, he's pretty sprite here. He's moving around and yelling and screaming.
Now we're getting ready to go. I think there was just some clarification that needed to be made. From inside the 25, it's 3rd and 16. Wide receivers to the near right side. Oderman dumps off the screen, and the play is separated and ruled incomplete. Trent Anderson, who recovered a fumble in the first quarter and ran it in for a touchdown, separating ball from receiver, and now it's 4th down.
No doubt in the Cobbers' mind, they're 4-down situation here, and I think that's why they set up with the screen, hoping to get some yardage and then try to get the first down. Obviously, they're not even going to try to kick it here. They're going for the touchdown.
The field goal game has not been an integral part of their offense, and should they even try from this point, it would be a 42-yarder, and Brian Barnick is untested from that area. Cobbers on 4th and 16. Listen to the crowd, and Kyle Oderman, as he steps under center, takes a timeout. The play clock was running short, and the Cobbers stop play with 7:57 to go in the 4th, trailing by 9 at St. John's 28. Cobbers 19. Cobbers need 2 scores. They've got less than 8 minutes. 3 receivers. Weishauer left. McGee and Langamo near right side. Kyle Oderman drops the pass. With time, goes to the end zone. It is up for grabs, and it is picked off by the Johnnies. Deep at the end line, Mark Smith hauls it in. And the Johnnies will take over on down.
That was a situation where Oderman really didn't have anybody, and he was just hoping to get it in the end zone. And in that situation, well, it's better than forcing a turnover shorter where they can return it.
So the Cobber offense comes on as they continue to be frustrated by the Johnnies here in the second half. And Johnnies, meanwhile, have made it a 9-point game with 7:48 to go. Jeremy Loretz goes wide right side. Kurt Ramler giving way in the second quarter, back on to control. Back out the controls here in the second half. To pass. Looking deep. Got his man out there, Loretz, and he makes the catch and is out of bounds. He's still inbound. He's going to go all the way. Jeremy Loretz on an 80-yard pass reception, and the Johnnies have just upped the ante. A great throw by Kurt Ramler to Jeremy Loretz along the sideline. He got away from Brian Barnick, who seemed to have pushed him out of bounds, but Loretz did not step out. The official right there. And Loretz took off upfield to score. An 80-yard pass completion.
Receivers like that make quarterbacks look like great ones. And there, Loretz doing a great job of getting up to its highest point, catching the ball, eluding the tackle, and scoring the big play again.
And you say again, and that's the key word. Seth Waite on for the extra point try. The snap is low, but put in place, and it's good. 7:35 to go, fourth quarter. St. John's 35 and Concordia 19.
The Steen & Berg Company is Fargo Moorhead's oldest auto body repair shop with all of the newest equipment for today's sophisticated cars and trucks. Steen & Berg specializes in body, top, and fender repair, but if the accident is more serious, Steen & Berg can straighten your frame to laser beam perfection. Stop in for a free estimate to see how affordable it is to put Steen & Berg.
Here's how it's lined up for St. John's tonight. A 62-yard run by Matt Moenberg. A 17-yard fumble recovery run in by Trent Anderson. A 47-yard pass completion to Chris Palmer. A 78-yard pass completion to Chris Palmer. And just now an 80-yard pass completion to Jeremy Loretz. And it's 35-19 St. John's. Here's the Johnny kickoff. End over end. Dean Haugo waiting. Gathers it at the 7. He's across the 10, the 15. Flag on the backside. Dean Haugo still on his way across the 30 and up to the 34-yard line. 99 times out of 100, that's a clip.
Yeah, and that one time we unfortunately got in that situation.
And so the Johnnies already pointing at the Cobber offense. Illegal use of the hands is the correct call on this play. Someone was pushing off. I don't think it was an all-out blatant block, but it was an illegal use of the hands on the return. And so the penalty yardage will take it inside the 10 near the 9-yard line.
Cobber situation pretty rough. They had to use that timeout in the last series, and that's pretty crucial. And then they're sitting in their back door here at the 8-9 yard line, starting with only 7 minutes and 27 seconds left in the ball game.
35-19 St. John's. Cobbers now out of their own end of the field. The first half belonged to Concordia. The second half has belonged to St. John's. Oderman rolls left to pass. He's got some time, and he finds Torrey Langamo complete at the 22-yard line. That's good for a first down. 9 catches on the night for Torrey Langamo.
Here's something interesting you got to think about. The Cobbers are 16 points down. They're actually only 2 touchdowns, because if they do get the 2-point conversions, they're right back in the ball game here. So they're not in that bad of a situation. That's kind of the question I asked earlier on that extra point. You go for the guaranteed, the Johnnies, but I might have went for the 2-point to kind of seal the fate.
Cobbers come up at their own 22. 7:10 remaining. Wide receivers to the near right side. Oderman rolling. Looking. Still looking. Running out of room and finally fires and finds Torrey Langamo complete at the 27-yard line. That's a gain of 5.
Kyle Oderman doing a great job of waiting until the last possible second, not forcing any unwanted pass, and gaining 5 yards out of the whole deal.
You mentioned at the very start of our game, Wade, that the Cobbers are the only team in the league to have an advantage of St. John's. And right now, trailing by 16, it's in jeopardy. The Cobbers with a 1-game advantage in the overall series, 27 wins, 26 losses, and 6 ties. Out of the I formation for Kyle Oderman, 2nd and 6. The draw play to Dean Haugo. And he manages a couple of yards near the 29, and that's all. It'll be 3rd down.
Again, 3rd down situation. These are the crucial situations, and with 6 minutes on the clock, time starts to run out. The Cobbers are going to be a little more creative.
Jim Christopherson, in his this is 26th year, has 9 wins against John Gallardi, 14 losses and 2 ties. And in the last 3 years, the Johnnies have won 2 and have tied with the Cobbers once. And that was at the Metrodome. Back to pass. Kyle Oderman with time, now flushed out of the pocket, still looking deep. He'll turn upfield. He's at the 30, the 35, and he's got the first down at the 39-yard line. Nice scamper for Kyle Oderman.
Kyle Oderman doing a good job there. The only negative was it looked like Dean Hoggle and his other receivers weren't really making too much of an effort to try to get open. I think they were just hoping something was going to happen, and Kyle Oderman did make something happen.
Out to the 39, first down. You make an interesting point a moment ago. It's a 16-point game, 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions. And we have mentioned and have been always under the influence that when you're ever within a 2-touchdown game, it's always they always have a chance. Here's Kyle Oderman, again, quick out. And Torrey Langamo is separated from the football as he tried a one-hand catch. Great job by Mark Smith. And he's made a nice recovery from his early season injury.
Mark Smith doing a good job there, but he probably could have picked the ball off. But Smith went right after Langamo hit him, and it looks like Smith kind of dazed on that.
I think they both are. That was a quick pop.
You're right, Langamo coming out himself. He looks like he's a little bit dazed, and anytime you get helmet to helmet, that hurts.
Well, the game between Concordia and St. John's, not a game for the timid or weak of heart. Second down, Concordia. Kyle Oderman rolling down the line, pitches out Eli Shuff. Dances loose, then takes a hit, tries to maneuver and get to the sideline, and he's down at the 43-yard line. But in the field of play, and the clock continues to run.
The play there, actually, right after the pitch, Eli Shuff should have broke north because there was a big gap there. And the Johnnies have done that. They've just made sure that you can't get around the corner on them, and the Cobbers got to go north-south as a result.
Third down and 6 for Concordia. At their own 42.5. Sean McGee to the near right. Eric Bechtold is the wide receiver now in the slot, replacing Torrey Langamo, who was injured on the last play. And back to pass, Oderman has his man on the near side. The pass is caught at the 48-yard line by Sean McGee, and that's good for a Cobber first down.
And again, Sean McGee, he's king of first down here today. He's done a great job. Just about every pass completion he's gotten, he's gained a first down. But it looks like he's hurt on the play or equipment change.
7 receptions tonight for Sean McGee. 10 receptions for Torrey Langamo, as the Cobbers just have not had any kind of success running the football, and they've had to go to the pass. Likewise, St. John, they haven't had any success running, and they've had to go to the pass, but they've got the speed that gets their receivers open and a strong arm from Kurt Ramler to find them.
Johnny ball, big play ball.
First down at the Johnny 48-yard line. Clock running, 4:20 remaining. Oderman steps into the pocket and throws on the near side. Torrey Langamo back into the game, steps out of bounds after making the catch at the 41-yard line.
One thing you can't fault, the Cobbers are doing a good job of saving some time off the clock. The receivers getting out of bounds after every catch.
Every play now will be headed towards the sideline, as the Cobbers have already used 1 timeout. They have 2 remaining and trail by 16.
Interesting here, the Cobbers have 2 new receivers in, number 84, LaMarcus Ford, and number 30, Eric Bechtold.
LaMarcus Ford wide left with Bechtold. There's the quick slant out and the miscommunication. Again, the inexperience, I think, showing up. LaMarcus Ford was late in turning to the football, and by that time it had already hit the turf.
Yeah, you got 2 quality receivers in Langamo and McGee not in there at this situation.
Oh, they've had a long game. They've been on a lot of pass. Wide left. Bechtold in the slot. Merceth, the tight end, on the near side for Mark Weishauer. Oderman under center. Halverson in the front of the eye. Haugo leaves and comes in motion. Looking on the near side. Pass complete to Merceth. Stepping out of bounds. Close to the first down at the 39-yard line. I think just short.
Merceth's getting a nice mark there, and it looks like it's pretty close. I didn't think he even got that far, but it looked like he got a nice placement by the ref.
Sophomore from Frazee, Nathan Merceth, with 5 catches coming in. That was number 6. And they are taking a long look at this one. I think if they decide that it is not, the Cobber staff has the option of asking for the measurement, but they're going to take a long look across and see clearly that it is about a half-yard short. The ball is spotted at the 39, and the Cobbers need about a half-yard for the first down. Short yardage, dead T. Down the line option, ball is dropped. And the Johnnies recover. Kyle Odeman, and we have talked about this on occasion where he is sometimes late in pulling the ball away from Mike Halverson. Sometimes you wonder if a defender can't get in there and get his hand, and this time they did. The Johnnies are the team to do it. They create the stop of play and take over on down.
Looked like Kyle Odeman was a little indecisive on what he wanted to do with it. It looked like he saw that Halverson wasn't going to get anywhere, and he tried to pull it out, and as a result, the ball fumbled.
The loose ball picked up by Chuck Eisenman, senior from Farmington, and the Johnnies now with a 16-point lead and 4 minutes to play have the ball at their own 42. Jeremy Loretz is wide to the near left side. Backs are split. Kurt Ramler under center. There's the handoff right side for Matt Malmberg, and he is upended and brought down at the 43-yard line, a gain of a yard.
Well, the game is you can't look at it as being over at 3:51. There's still enough time. You never know what things happen. Like I said, 16 points. Charlie Yards, 2 touchdown and 2 two-point conversions away.
Well, if we were still in the first half, there would be a lot of people that would agree with you. But the way the second half has been played, and there are a lot of people already are heading out and tried to beat the traffic. The Cobbers have taken a timeout. They have one remaining. And we have seen again where for 9. Johnnies had been averaging 44.5 points per game. The Cobbers, second, averaging 31. And pretty much everything fell into place with the way this game has been played so far. On the defensive side, the Johnnies were number 4, Cobbers number 1. Cobbers had been yielding less than 7 points a game, but the Johnnies have 35 on the board tonight. The Johnnies have been yielding 20, and that's just about right on line.
You look at the Johnnies and their success on the passing game. It's been the big play with Lorenzo Palmer. You got 2 receivers that are just absolute quality athletes, and all he's got to do is throw the ball down the field 34 yards, and these guys can make some things happen.
Loretz and Palmer, the big receivers tonight for the Johnnies. It's second down and 8. St. John's at their own 43. Palmer will take the handoff. He'll go on the end around and is upended across the 45 at the 46-yard line, and the Cobbers now will use their third timeout, and the Johnnies will have a third down play. Next week at the Metrodome, Thursday, a 5 o'clock game, St. Olaf will take on Augsburg to close out their season. At 8 o'clock, St. John's will take on McAllister. And on Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, Carleton will play Hamlin. Concordia will play Bethel at 5 o'clock. And then the season finale, Gustavus takes on St. Thomas at 8 o'clock.
You know, you look at case in point, the receivers, Lorenzo Palmer, averaged 17.8 and 19.2 yards per catch average, and that's seriously deep. That's a big play type receiver where the Cobbers, Nate Merseth with only 5 receptions as a 15-yard average, that's their best.
3:36 to go, and the Johnnies have forced the Cobbers into using all of their timeouts here in the second half. The Johnnies will have a 3rd and 5 play with 3:36 to go, leading by 16. Not likely that they'll do anything that would risk that lead at this point, as Ramler will drop back now. It's a little bit surprising to see him go into the pass formation, and he goes down under the crunch. Back at the 40-yard line. He'll lose 7 yards on the play. Cobbers again register a quarterback sack led by Chad Freese, his second of the night.
But that's Johnny football, you know. When they want to pass, they'll go and try to put another touchdown on the board. They're not afraid of it, and that's the kind of team they've been, and that's why they put a lot of points on the board.
4th down and 11 yards to go, and Andy Auger is back on the field to kick. He'll stand at his 27-yard line. Stuart Lang is in punt return. DJ Core, the blocking back in front. There's the snap. Cobbers with the rush on. They don't get there in time. There's the penalty flag. Auger goes down, and Lang makes the fair catch at the 22-yard line. But Auger, under the pressure, is hit as he gets the ball away. Tim Odland, Mike Solberg, all there, and we'll have a roughing the penalty. Jared Zebarth, the freshman from Cambridge. They expect a lot of things, a lot of good things from him. Also win as they tried to block the punt.
I think Auger did a pretty good job of acting there right after he barely got it on the foot, and he just fell back, which anytime they touch you and you get the ball off, it's roughing the punter.
And that moves the ball across midfield to the Cobber 45-yard line. Well, the Cobbers had to try and create something, try to create a change in momentum, and they had to come after Auger.
Well, it's a risky play, but their intention wasn't to
Well,
rough the punter. You were hoping to get to it.
Ran into it.
And as a result on that risk, Johnny's take advantage of it.
Jeremy Loretz will come wide to the near left side now with 2:48 to play. Chris Palmer wide to the right side. Kurt Ramler all the way in the second half for the Johnnies. Hands off up the middle of Matt Malmberg, and he has a nice delay right at the line of scrimmage and manages a 5-yard gain inside the 40. Matt Malmberg, basically, and here again we have to go back to the fact that he has not been stopped because the yardage or so that it has been there for him tonight. But he had a 62-yard touchdown run in the midst of all that yardage, and other than that, he has very little, if any, yardage.
Yeah, he's definitely been in check. You looked at me at 71 yards at halftime, and I think he had 71 coming into the fourth quarter. So he's been in check, but one big play, and that's made his day.
Second down at 5 after the 5-yard pickup by Malmberg. The formation strong left. Hand off again to Malmberg, and the Cobbers may have been offside. Malmberg has the first down run to the 33-yard line. Jared Scheck there to make the stop, making the initial hit, and Shad Young finishing it off. Offside against the Cobbers will be declined. They'll take that run by Malmberg. 8,500 in attendance tonight, 8,500 watching this classic matchup, the traditional game between Concordia and St. John's. 20 times in the last 26 years, Concordia and St. John's, one or the other or both, have shared or won the MIAC title. Wide receivers to the right and left. Backs are split. Kurt Ramler trying to get the Johnnies back on the board. Here's the handoff to Matt Malmberg. He was one step away from breaking it. Picks up 11 yards to the 21-yard line.
Not only is the game on the line, and obviously it looks like the St. John's will seal the victory, but the rushing title we fail to forget, and Malmberg's put some yardage here, and I think that's what Galargi's doing here. He's trying to get the ball to Malmberg and try to win that rushing title.
Malmberg came in with 923 yards rushing, and he was right at that, close to that 1,000-yard mark heading into the fourth quarter. He has gone over that now in the season. 1,000-plus yards for Matt Malmberg on the season. Wide receivers to the right and left, and again it's to Matt Malmberg. He is ankle tackled, but not brought down before a 4-yard gain to the 18-yard line.
Coming into the game, he was only 11 yards behind Dean Hoggle in the rushing title. Looks like here it'll be pretty close. I think both have come close to the century mark. As a result, we'll find out.
54 seconds and clock running. The Johnnies will have to run one more play. They have the ball at the 19-yard line of Concordia, and it's 8 yards to go. They have the slow walk and approach to the line of scrimmage. Jeremy Loretz to the near side. Ramler under center. He'll get this play off with 29 seconds left in the game. Malmberg on the carry, squirts to the outside, still on the loose, and he'll finally be run out of bounds with a penalty flag down at the 7-yard line. Matt Malmberg again picking up big yardage before being run out of bounds.
Chances are pretty good it's either a late hit or a face mask penalty.
The play continuing into the sideline on the far side, Tim Langemo, last player back onto the playing field. He appeared to be shaken up again. He's just hobbling just ever so slightly. Face mask is called against the Cobbers, and that'll be tacked on to another fine run by Matt Malmberg, and it'll go half the distance from the 7 to inside the 3-yard line, or near the 3-yard line.
Don't count the Johnnies here not trying to score. They're definitely the team that likes to put points on the board and run them up a little bit, and some people agree and disagree with that, but I think for rankings, they don't mind putting extra points and padding the lead.
It's first and goal at the 3-yard line, and they'll take the ball and drop to the knees. Well, every once in a while, you'll see the gentleman, John Galardi, on the far side, with great respect for head coach Jim Christopherson, puts the ball on the turf, and he'll let the clock run out, and the Johnnies have claimed at least a share of the MIAC title with the win tonight at the Fargo Dome. The teams head onto the field for the handshakes. Final score tonight, St. John's 35 and Concordia 19.
You're an American. You've got the right to demonstrate in the street.
Down with everything.
You've got the right right to Burger King and any size great-tasting flame-broiled Whopper sandwich you want. The Whopper Junior, the Whopper, and the Double Whopper. Your choice with fries and drink starting at just $1.99.
Down with that. Actually, that's pretty good. Yes.
Whopper value meals only.
Ryan Beachy, who was injured about halfway through the second quarter of that game, and Kyle Oderman has been
strong, a running quarterback. He's had some arm problems in preseason, and two-a-day practice. We do so much throwing that the arms get sore, and we think he'll be ready to go by game time and back to his old passing form. The good thing is he's got three experienced receivers that he threw to most of last year, and they picked up where they left off, and our passing game should be very good as the season goes on.
Despite the fact that the Cobbers have a seasoned offensive unit, the defense is very salty as well, losing just 3 starters from a year ago, and it may be that they will have to carry the offense at the start of the season.
Our defensive team started out very slow last year. Morehead State ran on us very well for over 400 yards. We had some concerns on the defensive line particularly, and we made some changes. As the season went on, we got better, and we ended up number 1 in the conference defensively. So that was a factor in our being in the race right down until the end, until we lost to St. John's and Bethel. And about 8 of those guys are back, so we expect some very good defensive performance. Remember that 2 of the 3 positions that graduated were all conference. Mike Solberg, strong side linebacker, and Tim Langenwood, strong safety, and also Chad Freese was a second-team all-conference pick on the defensive line. So 3 big holes to fill there, and yet new players are coming in, and we think that everybody else is going to be a little bit more experienced and will pick the tempo up a little bit. So this should be a real solid defensive team.
Losing last year to Morehead State 41-21. The Dragons losing some key players from that team, and so a lot of new faces arriving for this year's crew, but they have the spring practice, and Jim Christopherson and his coaching staff had a chance to see the Dragons this past spring and have a little bit of an idea what might be ahead for them in this afternoon's game.
When we scouted Morehead State a year ago and made our pre-game preparation, we saw a veteran football team. We knew they were going to be a very strong team, and it proved to be true. They went on and won the NSIC and went on to the semifinals in NAIA, just as it was an outstanding year for the Dragons. This year we have a little less to go on. A lot of new faces. We did see their spring game. Our assessment was that they're very solid defensively, a number of starters returning, and will be tough for us to move on, although we did score 21 points and move the ball at times fairly well against them last year. Our concerns and questions are with their offense. New quarterback, new running backs. They are a little bit new in the offensive line. Their strength maybe it would be in the receiving core right now with Karlsruhe, particularly at wide receiver, being a dangerous threat at any time. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll have to kind of feel them out and scout them as we go along, because we're not as sure about what they can do as we knew where their strengths were a year ago with all 3